Our days are getting shorter. It's now or no way. 'Cause life flows like white water. Take a moment to breathe, hold it in, stay a while, forget all that you know, and forgive everyone. It's all in your power to turn away. And maybe I've been blinded, 'cause all I see now is a fairy tale ending is not in our course at all. Make a change, forget wait for nothing, so death do I, 'cause I feel like a freight train is running over me, so I'll say what you want me to make you believe, mortify, complicate, I'll wait by until it's too late. But I think that you know much better. Wait forever. My head is on straight for once, and you will pay for it. Caught in a landslide, a bird's eye take, and I can't wait to finally get out of here. And I feel like a freight train is running over me, 'cause I know like I know everything to make you believe. Take every piece of me, and don't be fine for a little while. Forget everything. You're making excuses. These loaded questions will be useless for you, and the real answer is that I fucking hate you.
Oh, crazy music. Board.
What up? What up? What up? I just told that from Martin. I don't think that's copyrighted. I hope it ain't. This is Gary Lamb bringing relevant content on life, freedom, and the pursuit of happiness. I am with my co-host, Maladjusted. What is up, player? How was your day today?
Not bad. It was kind of a nice, quiet day for once. It was a shutdown day, so I kind of power snoozed off and on. Alex, yes, it is a green screen. And Gary, yes, that is the cat who seems to be in full, you know
Rare
what?
form tonight, right? Well, we have a stellar cast for you guys, ladies and gentlemen. We have the crew from Matters of Opinion, Erica. Come on up. How you doing, Erica? And
I'm doing
Wally,
good.
what's up, man? How you guys been doing?
Good,
Salutations,
good.
everybody. We've been doing all right. Not too bad. Not too bad.
That's what's up. That's what's up. We also have June.
Yeah.
What's up, man? Now I
Um,
haven't spoken to you since the last live, and I kind of cut out early because I was tired. And
Yeah.
I don't appreciate your back screen there, Mile Adjusted. Not for this live. This is not the live to be putting that up there. This is definitely not the live to be putting up there. Speaking of not supposed to be putting that up there, let's bring up my wife, Latoya Lamb. Ready, baby? There you go. Look, the smile. There you go. Smile. What's up? You're not censored anymore. What happened to the camera? Oh man. So we have Logic Rex coming up, and he's the newcomer to the channel. What's up, Logic?
Hey everybody, thanks for having me.
What's going on?
Appreciate
What's
it.
going on? So today we are going to be discussing something very important, that is mental health in America when it comes down to men. Now, I could have said transgenders and all other stuff, but at the end of the day, we are all men. We all was born male. We both have the XY chromosome, and I just wanted to have this big discussion about it and see what we can do about bridging the gap here, because there's a lot of issues that's going on right now in our country. Right? We got the transgenders going what seems to be nuts. We have men seem like they're going also nuts. And I just wanted to bring everybody up and have this conversation. So I don't really know where to start here, because this is a community thing, I think, right? So do anybody have anything to start off with?
well, I seen a video with this one transgender woman who was saying, "Hey, we gotta arm up and start taking control of the situation and start attacking." And I'm like, "Dang, like they must be scared, but they're gonna start attacking in fear of being attacked." And I'm like, "We're making it hard right now." It's I'm
Now,
scared
why do you think they're fearful and they want to attack?
because like a lot of us, we were raised just to look at it as it's weird. So when we don't understand sometimes men, when we can't really explain how we feel, we just want to go towards aggression, and it's like
Mhm.
that way we can't associate ourselves with that, because if we attack that person, there's no way we love that, we accept that. So I think it's a dislike of ourselves.
I think they're gearing up to defend themselves mainly because of what happened in Nashville also. Because a lot of
Mm.
people are trying to take that and say, oh, the trans community is going on the offense. And they're taking that one isolated situation and trying to paint that as a broad brush for the trans community, saying, look, they're attacking our schools and killing innocents or whatever. So it seems like it's gonna like the trans community is in fear of backlash for what this one individual did. Who want to speak?
I know I'm being unusually quiet because I'm setting all of you guys up without realizing it.
Okay.
So I have something that I will say at one point, but I want to wait for kind of everybody else to kind of talk their piece, because I'll give you a hint. Gary, you're going to get frustrated because it's an old bone, same chew. And for Wally, Erica, and
I'm here for it.
well, everybody but June has basically heard in their own way, heard me talk about this before. So
Right.
I have a hidden agenda in this case.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay. So you want everybody to spill their beans before you go, huh?
In a way, yeah.
Okay, I don't appreciate that at all. So let's
I
start
know.
off with Erica.
I don't know. So, like I don't really have.
Here's the thing, okay? I think that men are in danger. We're in bad shape. I our country has pretty much taken any real reason for us to be around away from us. Everything that we used to do that made sense to us, that gave us purpose, is pretty much gone. Like, there's no room for fathers anymore. We're trying to fight for that. There's no room for aggression in the way of, corporations. We're pretty much neutered there. We're neutered in school. It just feels like the only place that we can really thrive is in war. And what does it look like is about to happen? It looks like civil wars are going to break out really soon if we don't put a stop to this mess. And I'm very nervous about what's going on. I'm nervous. I don't want to see, huh?
Can I ask you a weird question? Because you hit on one of my favorites. So we're only good at war, right? But let me ask
that's
you,
what it seems like. I'm not saying that's the only thing we're good at, but that's what they're making it look like.
Hold on. But here's my side question to you, Gary. Is not the reason why, and I know a bunch of the ladies might take a little bit of misconception to this, but is it not that because we're good at war, why we excel at business? Because men see everything as a competition and a you-know-what kind of match. That's why if Gary's going to put 41 hours a weekend, I'm putting in 42. And that's when Wally comes around. What's he going to? Yeah, I'm going to see your 42. I'm going to raise you to 44. Yeah, well, I'm going to put in every extra Saturday. Oh, men excel at these kind of things because we view it as a war.
And we was raised that way.
Continue to conquer. We don't buy one business and stick with that business. We buy that business and then we want to expand it here and there and everywhere. Which is why we're good in corporate America, but why we suck when it comes to being in the household. This is where we go back to traditional roles, right? This is why woman in the house, man in the job, because of that balance. A man wants to be at work to conquer and wants the wife at home to take care of the day-to-day. We want to be in the trenches in one way or another. So when you stop and you look at anything you do as a man, typically speaking, we attack it. We come at it like it's a war.
But that's considered no in this new feminized community. In this feminized environment, that's a no because they don't. Okay, so we have a lot of transgenders taking over women's sports, and why wouldn't they if they feel like they have nowhere else to go, right? So they're going to go to the feminine sports because they can't. A lot of people say they can't compete in the masculine sports, right? That might be true. Oh, I don't know. Okay, I don't know. You're saying they can't. I honestly do not know the answer to that. I just witnessed a guy in Canada blow this transgender's record completely away by 100 pounds. Saying just to prove a point. To prove a point. So
we all know he was faking it.
Huh?
He was doing it exclusively as a troll.
Yes, he was trolling the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Right. So, but what I'm saying is that this person who took the one that held the previous record, they've been on hormone blockers and stuff like that for quite some time, right? And that dwarfed their ability. And this is what I don't understand. Why take a weaker body to powerlift? It just don't make any sense to me.
True.
That don't make any sense. Like, if you want to be the most powerful anything, why would you take something to make you weaker? That doesn't make any sense. Unless, of course, there's a mental problem there, which is why we brought Rex on, because he has insight that we don't have, right? So when you look at the whole war thing, it seems like transgender women are reverting to a male way of dealing with things, aggression.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. They're not reducing themselves to regression. The shootings
they're reducing themselves to 6-year-old children because they're emotional.
Isn't that aggression? It's aggression though, right? It's aggression.
Yeah.
No, it's
still aggression.
I wouldn't call a temper tantrum the same thing as a man's version of war.
Okay.
I'll buy that. But
My
it's still,
6-year-old daughter throws the same temper tantrum that my son throws.
so you're saying that transgender men are throwing these type of tantrums?
I'm saying transgenders in as a whole are throwing a
Mhm.
temper tantrum. They want a piece of the treat me special pie, and they were getting it, but now they pushed it too far, and now people are pushing back, saying, "Look, we gave you the shield to be a special group, and we gave you your little gold star to be a special group. You took it too far. You tried to bring it into the schools. You tried to put it out on the streets, and you're cutting ladies' upper halves off and boys' bottom parts off, and the public's not having it. And so now they're throwing a temper tantrum, just like a kid that gets their toy taken away."
So I definitely need to cut across or start interjecting because I've definitely been way too quiet already. So I would say that's way too simplified, and that's my issue when I'm coming into a space like this, and I am literally the only one with lived experience as somebody who's LGBT, and I try to take a step
I'm
back and contextualize this as much as possible and try to use as much detail as possible. So maladjusted, I feel like that's a way too simplified approach of what you're taking it, and you're trying to like a generalized broad statement on transgenders. And I'll just start off with, how long have transgenders been around in society? I think I would argue that
freeze
transgenders.
freeze
What?
right there,
No, I
because
need to finish my point. No, I'm
you need
not
to
going to let you
split
cut me
that.
off.
Are you
I'm not going
talking
to. We're already.
historically?
I
Are
already
you
have to
talking
establish. I'm
historically
not going
or
to let you
now?
cut me off. You're not
Are
going
you
to cut me off.
talking historically
You're
or
not going
now?
to talk over me. No.
Are you talking
Let me finish my
historically or
piece.
now?
Let me finish my piece, please. And don't. I'm not going to have you cut across me like that. I'm not doing it. So, as I was saying, how long have transgenders been around? For decades, long
No,
before that,
not
1900s,
not the way you're
1600s.
trying to describe it.
The
No,
surgical aspect went way before. They've been trying to do the surgery thing for a long time. But what we're talking about here is trans this, trans that, trans. Everybody's getting beat over the head with this trans stuff. Where the non-binaries are gone? Because I guarantee you, if you guys take a really close look at this, these forced pronouns of these z's or zims and the they thems, all this forced stuff on society was not occurring before the non-binary community and collective, the fascist sect, came into play. This is not, in my opinion, the trans community is being scapegoated. It is being used as a shield, and you have your non binary people that are behind it. And I'll wrap that thought up with non binary is not trans. Transgender, transsexual has a goal. There is a binary to it. There is trans man, trans woman. You are transitioning to appear as the opposite sex in a visual sense. You can't change biology. Obviously, I'm a male. I'll never be able to change male, but I can do things to change my appearance and to change my characteristics, like what you see before you right now. But absolutely, non binary is not trans. And I absolutely feel that the trans community is getting thrown under the bus with the bad actors originating the origin of this whole forced and overblown massive push onto society being originated from the fascist sect of the non binary community.
Wow. What you just said, like, I think, generally speaking, from like a black person's perspective, what you just said, I can totally understand, because the black community, whether it's Black Lives Matter protests or anything, people will come under that umbrella, get what they want, and then go about their business, so to speak. And the fact that you laid it out as the non-binary community basically is mixed, like trying to mix with the trans and add all these pronouns and all this stuff into it.
I would say,
That's
Mhm.
Go ahead.
I would say if you look at the non-binary, what are they doing? They are essentially erasing gender, all gender,
Yeah,
and they are
yeah,
both erasing women and trans women because apparently you could be non-binary, wear makeup like me, but keep a whole beard on your face. That's
yeah.
not gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria is something categorically different, along with this whole thing of mental illness versus a mental disorder. Gender
Can you
dysphoria is
explain
Yeah.
that for me, for us?
gender
You said
dysphoria.
yes.
Yeah, so gender dysphoria in the DSM-5 is categorized as a mental disorder. there's a categorical difference between an illness and a disorder, which is another word I keep hearing and seeing tossed around as an illness. It's an illness. It's not an illness. It's a disorder. It's category lesser than. There's just something going wrong, but I'm still, I mean, not all of us on my side are adhering to logic and reason and maintaining a balance between reality and the consciousness. And that's another way I like to explain it, is that my consciousness inside of me differs from my physical state of being as I was born. I was born a male, I was born masculine, right? But my consciousness has evolved to the point where there is a separation between that physical state of being and my consciousness. And it goes back to like somebody asking you, like, who are you? Because who you are inside your consciousness doesn't have a physical body, where like energy or your soul or however you want to explain it, that consciousness is separate from our physical state of beings, which is where I can understand and see where some of the people like me are coming from. They have totally lost all resemblance of reality and adhering to this physical world that we are in, to where trans women are women. Now, trans women are not women. We'll never be able to achieve that. Like, I am not Erica. I am not Miss Lamb. It'll never happen. I am merely what I explain, an imitation. I mean, imitation is a serious form of flattery, but to what extent do these people take it to where non-binary now is trying to erase both women and trans women? It's like birthing people.
Wow.
They, them. Out of here.
Now I know it seems like maladjusted is burning, so I'm going to go ahead and give you
Yeah,
your
yeah,
next tip.
yeah.
Go
See,
for it, buddy.
Rex, you're oversimplifying.
Well,
And like I shot you down, and don't talk over me, blah, 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 blah. Your version of transgender has only existed for about 30 years. Transgender in the concept has existed, yes, for hundreds of years. But what we're talking about, what we're talking today about, the concept that you're trying to live by is a new concept. So it does. So no, you can't compare A and B. You're comparing apples and oranges. Next up, you say that people are throwing transgenders under the bus. You're trying to throw non-binaries under the bus. But here's the thing: it's not any one group. I'm tired of gay men thinking that Pride Parade on public streets and replicating sodomy for the public is okay. So it's all the alphabet mafia committing different things that I find morally reprehensible and that I find ethically irreprehensible. You can try to play with the DSM-5 and definitions between illness and dysphoria and so on and so forth, but at the end of the day, it is a mental disorder. Chemicals in your brain or in a person's brain are broken for whatever matter. And in no other situation do we attempt to alter a person's chemical being to the same extent as what it is required to make a transgender's reality become true. We won't cut off a phantom limb sufferer. In any other situation, if a person walked into the hospital and said, I want this thing cut off because I don't feel it's part of me or I feel different than what it is, I feel I should have a crab claw versus a human hand, would we do anything other than commit that person? You try to use the definition of consciousness, and me and you have had this conversation, and I looked at this probability and this possibility, but I have to be honest, when I read and with what I read, more and more often, what do we see? These people or people like this, they're underlining issues in their life. So they're seeking. So this transgenderism as it exists today, I would argue predominantly are people that have been sexually abused, mentally, emotionally abused, whatever it may be. And this is their way of trying to reach out. We then run into what we'll call, so I'm going to call you version 1.0. We then get into the version 2.0, and these are the trenders, the alphabet mafia trenders. The people that see, oh, if I act this way, I get a special gold star and I get a cupcake, and you can't say anything against me because if you do, you're an istophobe. So yes, it's an oversimplification. You're right in that I condense it because at the end of the day, my solution to the problem solves both problems.
What's your solution to the problem? Throwing me in a mental health institution?
Removing all forms of special designation for people. Nobody gets the
What is
shield.
that? What is okay? So I don't want to say you mean like legally. What are we
Yes,
talking?
legally.
Okay, I mean, why should I care what the government says I am or am not, or anybody
Right.
else for that matter?
But by the
Like
same token,
nobody.
a business
So
owner can choose who they can and can't
yeah,
hire, or who they can and can't serve, so on and so forth. The
see,
only
that's
way,
where.
in my opinion, sorry, just to finish the thought, the only way, in my opinion, to fix the problem, like I've told you before, is to give freedom of choice to all people on all sides, because then nobody's special.
Yeah, I can agree. I think the only rights that really have any weight are human rights. Everything else is just a facade. It's just like trans rights, women's rights, men's rights, black white rights. All that stuff is convoluted division to me. It's just division tactics that the government use against us. The only legit rights are human rights because we're all human. We can all like unite under that banner. But I will agree with a few points that you definitely said, like the LGBT pride parades. The pride parades used to be about actual civil liberties or civil rights. They're not anymore. They turned into some strange morphed orgy party on the block that I totally disagree with. I don't think any parent in their right mind should be bringing a child to a pride parade at this point because it's just turned into some. I don't even want to. People putting
It's
themselves in
soft
cages
core.
with puppy masks. It's a big sex party. That's what it is. It's not about civil liberties or fighting for rights. What rights do trans people not have at this point? We have more rights. Apparently, we're a protected class. And like, I don't even like labeling myself trans because I take this wig and makeup off. I go back to looking like a guy. But I am starting HRT. I am on like 2 milligrams worth of estradiol right now for a little bit over a month. So I have started transitioning, but that's the age of 33. But I categorically definitely like. Oh, I wanted to ask you a question, Maladjusted, because you said it's a lot sooner. Like, what is the difference in your opinion between a transsexual and a transgender then?
Can
Because a
I be a dick?
transsexual,
I'm
huh?
going to be a little bit of a dick. Don't know because I don't care.
Go ahead.
Eh,
You don't, oh, you
I
don't know. Okay,
I
so
don't know because I don't care.
okay, so transsexual used to be this term to define transgenders, and then that started being seen as offensive, right? Which is absolutely ludicrous. It's just what it is. It was a descriptor. It was
Right.
describing either a male or female decided to transition to appear as the opposite sex. That's all what we're going for, or an actual gender dysphoric person is going for is just trying to change their appearance. But we remain logical and in the realm of reality where I can't change my sex. I'm not going to magically grow a vagina. That's never going to happen. Am I allowed to say that? Or is that like,
I
You're
think you
right.
could say
Nah, you're
vagina.
allowed. You
I
can say
don't
that. You
think
can
yeah,
say
like,
that.
I don't think you have a
that's,
problem with saying vagina, but
all right. I mean,
with
well,
JJ one might
I
be a
don't know
little bit
what
better. Yeah.
YouTube has been bringing,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
morphed into
Yeah.
something else too.
Even if it
But
is
that's,
bad, we're 20 minutes into the video, so we could
Yeah.
A little too
30
late.
minutes. Yeah. So
yeah, I
a
guess
little
so.
too late it is.
But I think,
Um
yeah, there's more that Mal and myself would agree on and also disagree on. Like we've had our talks before. But yeah, I would categorize like there's a difference now with a whole new sect coming out, and it's transsexuals. They're
But
bringing
why is there
transsexual
a
like your Blair White and your Buck Angel and your Marcus from the offensive tranny. These are people that have actually put in the effort. They have gone on HRT. They have transitioned medically, much like your trans med. That's also a term to describe, I guess, people like me, which we are shunned. We're called transphobic because let me speak for myself. I am only speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for anybody else of my community, just from what I perceive to be my own words, my own thoughts, and explaining it in my own way. You in the gender DSM-5 for gender dysphoria, there's that threshold that used to be met, then that got taken away. So now everybody in their right mind or wrong mind rather can be and identify as trans, which was the worst thing to ever happen. That's how we got the kids in there, and that's how they started jacking everything up. And then I would take that and say, with the HRT and the surgical transitions, that is the stated goal. You are transitioning to a state of permanence. to appear as the opposite sex. Non-binaries ain't doing that. They're not trying to permanently transition. So how can you be non-binary while trans, like I said before, still holds that binary of appearing in the feminine or the masculine, which holds the social whatever of appearing to be one or the other. Non-binary says you could be a bunny or a dog or a cat or go moo as a cow. Like they're two totally different concepts, and I think one we can categorize definitely state is a mental illness. For one to seriously identify as a bunny, where are we going with that? Like we're not
Now,
even in
let
the
me
realm
ask you
of
this
man and
question.
woman
Wait,
anymore.
hold on. Now, you said something that's okay. You said it's ludicrous to identify as a bunny, yet you have a wig on.
Yeah, it's a wig. I'm a human being, not a bunny. Do
I
bunny wears
get,
wigs? Do bunny
I
wear
get
wigs?
that, but I mean the
Well,
ears. You can put the ears on.
Yeah,
but
it's
my
a
point
disorder.
is like
I have a
to
disorder.
me. Wait a minute. Hold on. To me, you are on that side of the equation, right?
I'm
Because
somewhere in the spectrum, of course. I guess
that's what I'm
spectrum, if
saying.
you could
So
say.
to me, it's like for you to say that, I'm like, wait a minute, but you have a wig on and you're
Mhm.
taking hormone blockers and stuff like that so you can transition into more like a female. Even though you know all the risk involved with doing that, you're still doing that.
I
So
mean,
it's like
Doesn't that
that's what I'm
denote
saying.
being a mental disorder?
I would say
That's what I'm
disorder.
saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
gender dysphoria is in the DSM-5. I don't argue that. I'm the one that brought up the DSM-5. I'm okay
No, I
with that.
agree with you. But what I'm saying is that when you say that, do you understand how a person like myself would say, wait a minute,
There's no difference
What-
between a tranny and a furry.
I would furry.
I would
see a
disagree
furry
with
as
you
a
on that,
fetish.
but I don't. But I get. But you see where I'm coming from, Rex? Right,
Yeah,
Rex?
yeah, of
You're
course.
one
It's
step.
somewhere
You're
on the
one step
spectrum.
away from that, in
Hell
my
no.
opinion.
I'm
It's
not
not
one step away
true.
from identifying as a freaking animal, as a bunny or as
Well,
a
technically, we all
dog.
are
Like,
animals when you really think about it. We're human beings. That's the species
I
that
mean,
we
do you
talk.
think I'm gonna go
come
and
for.
paint my face like a rabbit tomorrow? Like, no, that's not gonna happen.
Okay, but
Maybe.
hold
What
on.
the hell?
I got a fun one for you, Rex.
Yo.
I got a fun one for you, Rex. You got a
Go
little
ahead.
problem with that argument.
Mhm.
You're being a racist.
Am
There
I,
are plenty.
am I being the
hold on,
funniest?
hold on. There are plenty of Native Americans that
No, you're a
have
species.
hold on, that no joke, that have quote unquote spirit animals and think they're their spirit animal.
Okay, so call it spirit gender or animal
Right.
gender.
This
It's
is
not
where the
transgender.
two-spirit
That's
comes
not trans.
right? Like this is where the two spirit. The point being, I
Mhm.
think the point being, and with what Gary's saying is, herein lies the problem. At the end of the day, from my perspective, and what I think Gary's saying is, you run into a trap of an all or nothing. Either there's a border that we will call normal, and there is abnormal. And these abnormal things, whether it's transgender or this, that, and the other thing, is a mental issue.
What,
And
gender
trying
dysphoria?
to say one is worse than the other
Yeah.
is like saying it is pointless because they're all the same. They're
Okay.
still a mental disorder.
I would disagree because no one can transition into a bunny. There's no, as far as I know, there is no surgery at all that can turn me into the appearance of a. I mean, there's people that turn themselves into looking like dragons.
Yeah.
Did you see the Creep Keeper? Did you see
Yeah.
that? Did you ever see the Crypt Keeper?
Oh, like
where
Pelosi?
they literally
Pelosi's a
had an
Crypt Keeper.
episode where they was implanting animals' body parts into the human body.
There's people that get
Um,
reconstructive surgery on their ears so they can look like elves and pixies.
Okay, there's regular women that get boob jobs. There's regular dudes that enhance their bodies in other ways.
I agree with you on that, but that was what they originally had, right? So think about it like this: you look at it with women wearing wigs. I understand why women wear wigs. I
Mhm.
get it. It's a lot of work to do to deal with your
Mhm.
hair, especially when it comes down
Okay.
to losing your hair and stuff like that.
And so
That makes sense,
if
right?
okay. So
But
let me ask,
and
why
do you,
do bald men wear toupes or toupees or try to
because
recreate
they're
their
trying
hair
to
in a
replace what they lost.
Okay.
They're
So
replacing what they lost. It's not something that they're adding to their body. They're replacing what they
Well,
lost.
see, I
of
think
their
it's a
body.
different you're seeing it as I'm adding to myself. I'm trying to look more like myself, a reflection of my own consciousness to my physical state of being. When I look in the mirror and I see a masculine man, my consciousness has a problem with that. I shave my whole body because I have a problem with my body hair because it's masculine, or I perceive it to be masculine because I know women have body hair as well. But because I have the hair of a man, I want to shave that off. I want to get rid of it because it bothers me to that extent. Much like how I cannot go on camera and talk with all you guys. I'm dressed up this way. I can't even really take a selfie with my camera anymore on my phone as a man because it bothers me that much.
The
So
the way
like,
I take it, Rex, what you're saying is that's no different than a woman who looks in the mirror, is not happy with the way they look, so they go buy makeup and all these artificial things to enhance their look. So if we're gonna sit there and say, hey, a transgender who's wearing a wig and stuff, that should be an issue, then we should also say that about women that wear makeup and all these other things to enhance their look. To me,
And
I
we
see that
do.
as no
Hold on.
difference.
But I was
We
We do.
I was
We
about to
talk
say
about
we
this.
do all
yes,
the time.
We
I
always say,
understand we
yo,
do,
take
but
all
we
that
don't
stuff
try and
off
put
of
them in a box, so to speak, like that.
Yes, we do.
They do.
Yes, we do.
They
Whoa,
do.
yes, we do.
Okay,
We
I got you one
absolutely
better.
do.
can I ask a question too? Why do women do all these things? Because arguably speaking, like I'm doing all this, why? Why do women wear high heels? Why do women put makeup on and make their hair really
Look
nice?
To
more
look more
attractive.
attractive.
To who?
N-
Who are they trying to attract? Or well,
Well,
go ahead,
according to
Erica.
them
Well,
themselves.
and that's what I was gonna say. Women
And
do it because that's what makes them feel good. So they're not doing it all the time for somebody else. They're doing it for themselves.
But
Now, I'm gonna throw myself under the bus. I wear my hair straight. Guess what? My hair naturally is not curly either. So it's a mix of in between. My hair dries straight for the most part because I've straightened it for so long of my life that that's what it does. I thought I was going to stop perming my hair and I thought my kinky coils were going to come back. Well, guess what? My body said, you lost that fight. I permed my hair 4 times a year prior to me deciding if I wanted to go natural or not. My daughter has very beautiful coils. My mother has very beautiful coils. Guess what? In my head, I thought my hair was going to look like theirs, and it just didn't. There was nothing that I could have did natural wise for my hair to go back to that look. But then I also had to look at some of my younger pictures and notice my hair wasn't like that even before I started perming my hair.
Erica, why is that different than Rex?
I know
I'm not
that's
saying
what
that
I'm
it's.
saying.
I'm not saying that it is different from
No,
Rex.
I'm asking.
No, I'm not
No,
saying that it is
I don't
because
think he's asking. I don't think he's asking as a point of reference. I think he really wants to know what.
Yeah,
how is
because
it?
to me, the same way you asked June, to me, I see it the same exact way. That's why I
correct.
brought
That's
it
why
up.
I don't have an issue with someone if that's how they feel. If they feel they need to do all of that, I'm 100% okay with it. Because guess what? That's me when I lost 70 pounds. I still see the bigger version of me. There's
Oh
nothing that I
my
can do
God,
about
Erica,
that look.
you hitting girl? You better stop. Don't play with me like that.
Hold
I
on.
used to be
But I'm serious
355
though.
pounds. I know exactly what you're talking about when it comes down to that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
there's no changing that logic. You
No,
can
it's not.
ask people that know me. When I was 275 pounds, I
Oh,
felt more confident than I did at 185 pounds. I
Shout
don't know
out to
why, but
Hold
that's
on, let
what
me pause.
happened.
Shout out to Harry Toe. I'm supporting Rex. He is taking this conversation like a man. A man. Not
it's
ma'am.
ma'am.
You know what? You can't steal my dick. Listen, bro.
Hey, I'm the LGBT in the room. I get to say it.
I don't
Okay?
give a toot, bro. I will pull you off this panel in a second.
All right.
I do want to answer a question. There's a question on Rumble. And it's been up for a minute. All right. As a trans person, forcing people who see it as a mental disorder will consider it wrong and feed into it. How can you justify forcing them to do wrong? Because if they feel that this is wrong, how can you justify that?
Forcing people who see it as a mental disorder will consider it wrong to feed into it.
I'll clean up the question for you, Rex. because I also want to make another point. Rex has answered the question everybody keeps asking, but everybody is mentally not hearing Rex. So the question should read like this, Rex. I think what you're doing is wrong. What gives you the right to make me feed into your delusion?
Nothing. I don't have a right to force you to do that
Right.
at all.
That's the question. That's the answer. Right.
So
That's
I
what the
will.
question was.
I'll preface this with I am a libertarian. That's my design. Libertarians are typically non-aggression principle. I am not going to force speech on anybody. I don't care if you use my pronouns or not. If you call me bro, probably just gonna fist pound you. It is what it is. I don't care because people's opinions of me have no consequence or weight to who I am and the way I'm going to live my life and what I perceive to be the best decisions of my life going to individual liberty
Did
and
it
personal
before? Did it at one
responsibility.
point? At one point, did it? Was it
What
a time
point?
that you did care?
I had to.
Yes, of course. Yeah. I mean, even like still hearing man, like at the beginning, it almost like I got that dysphoric feeling of, damn, yeah, I'm gonna get called a dude, I'm gonna get called a bro, even if I am fully decked out and all this stuff, which I put in the effort for this for a reason. So it makes me feel the way I want to feel as a reflection of myself inside. Anybody that's doing this for an external gratification or external reward, I would see that as not true gender dysphoria. There shouldn't be no ulterior motive or an external, like if I wanted to do this stuff just to get the attention of a guy or wanted to do this to gain some other aspect other than me feeling about the way I do inside and me being happy with the way I look, then that's not a proper way to go about transitioning. It's like, why would you transition what just because you want a guy to look at you? I think that's where we get into the whole autogonophile transgender, which differs from the actual transgenders. Whole lot of moving parts. I just found out about autogonophile like a month ago, and basically that's your Dylan Mulvaney. They get off or a sexual thrill on pretending they're a woman.
So I'm going to
That's
pick
not
on a
true
word.
gender dysphoria.
I'm going to pick on a word that Rex keeps using because I think it's a very important word.
Okay.
And it's the answer to the question you guys have asked. Rex continued to refer in replying to me, to us, consciousness. Erica goes out and buys these things, whether it's wigs or makeup or whatever, to enhance her. Rex doesn't do this to enhance anything. Rex does this because in Rex's brain, he is a she. And there's where the difference is. Rex feels that his consciousness is a female.
But
Is that true, Rex?
Hold on.
Yes.
Wait, is that true?
Yes, my consciousness.
Okay.
But I still maintain the logic.
Makes it a mental disorder.
Yeah, like, but I still maintain the logical reality of this world. That I was born a male. I was born with an XY chromosome. I agree with the reality that has been presented before me, where some in my community flat out reject it, and that's where we get trans women are women. Right. So I am not like Mrs. Lamb and Erica. I'm not a woman, and that will never be possible. But what is possible is changing my appearance, like I said, like if I can even afford it.
But that's what I'm saying, is that your belief in a consciousness that is female instead of male is in and of itself a mental disorder.
I would say that's gender dysphoria.
Which makes it a mental right?
It's in the DSM-5.
I know I'm oversimplifying it.
No, I mean,
but gilding the lily becomes pointless.
Well,
right?
It's not gilding the lily. I mean, we said it earlier in the chat that, yeah, it's in the DSM-5. Categorically, when all this started, it came out as a mental disorder. Relinquishing that or doing away with that being the goal across the medical community, medical industry, that was always the line in the sand, that gender dysphoria, DSM-5, mental disorder, then you can go ahead and get HRT and get all this other stuff, surgery, XYZ. And that was only for adults. Now they're involving kids, which is absolutely horrific and immoral, and that's going into a whole nother subject. I would agree with everybody on this panel about, as I assume we all agree, sexualizing
So
children is wrong. Transitioning kids, absolutely horrifying.
here's
I've
here's a
never seen. Go ahead.
But
here's a question that I have.
that's
Hold on.
the answer. That's
I
the
just
answer to the question that was being asked. At the end of the day, is when you listen to Rex's words, he was telling you what the difference is between what he does and what Erica or Miss Lamb might, and that is for Rex, his consciousness differs from his reality.
Wait, let me ask you though, Mal. Because let's say I'm not going to use Miss Lamb.
Hold on, Joan. Just hold on for a second. What were you going to say, Wally?
I was gonna ask, okay, because something you said was, you find it horrible with them trying to transition kids and everything like that, which I agree. But my question is this, because you see a lot of people contesting, oh, they should give the parents the rights to do XYZ if they want their child to transition and all this stuff like this. But I don't know, maybe I haven't looked enough, but why do I not see on a regular transgender community that think like you do? I don't see them put much of a fight to say, hey, this is wrong. We're a voice in this community that don't agree with this.
I would say it's a response to a fair level of fear regarding cancel culture. I mean, someone like me is smack dab in the middle. I'm not really welcomed by, I guess, your conservative, straight Christian XYZ, and then the other people in my own community would gladly hang me along with the other people just because I said trans women ain't women. I'm already a transphobe and a homophobe, but that's a segment of fear because people like me, we've been doxxed, been attacked. We get it from both sides of the spectrum, especially with the Nashville shooting, which is absolutely horrifying. I will also state with the Nashville shooting, I don't give a damn about the shooter's gender in any way, shape, or form. The only thing I care about is them rotting in the ground in a shallow grave. Now you're gonna say that dude's name or that girl's name, whichever. I don't care what they were. They killed 6 people, including 3 children. Forget that POS. Like, let them rot in the ground.
Yeah, a shooter's race or gender makeup is irrelevant.
It's
Don't care about
absolutely
it.
irrelevant. As a matter of fact, I don't think it has any
You know?
freaking weight at all. Because
I'll make it even more personal for me because I'm a licensed armed security officer, full body armor, sidearm, all that. I literally part-time when I get called and they need coverage. The facility that I am tasked with protecting as a licensed armed security officer is literally a religious place of worship with the school attached to it. Little kids running around. If that was my site, I would have been the armed guard on site. I would have had to take that shooter out because that is my main function. That's my main purpose for being there, which
Right.
brings me into the whole thing now with this trans whatever shooter. Who even knows if they were trans? I mean, yeah, I think they were on HRT, but they could have easily been non-binary because now the non-binaries made everything under the sun. You could be both non-binary and trans.
Now, Rex, do you see why you have such a problem on our side? You guys can't even get your shit together.
I got a problem on both sides.
I'm just saying, no. I'm just saying on the side of parents, on the side of us, we're just lost because we don't even know what y'all. It doesn't seem like y'all can get y'all stuff together long enough for us to even understand what's going on.
Well,
right?
see,
You're so the LGBTQ plus is so splintered. It's more splintered than I've ever seen any other group, and it's like
Wrong.
How is that wrong, Mel?
Okay, so this is where I get to team up a little bit with Rex. So in this conversation, we're talking about Rex's group as an individualized group. But here's the thing. What we're talking about, and a lot of the things we're talking about with regards to Rex, is the same thing we talk about when we're talking about black versus white. Or white versus Hispanic. Wow. It's almost like, see, Erica's nodding. She already sees where this is going. It's almost like on multiple occasions I've brought up the fact that everybody wants to be boxed into their own little group so that they can be treated special and throw their hands up and say, you can't because we're splintering ourselves in school because, oh, well, we want Black History Month now because it's not fair whites get history, so it's not American history, it's Black history and white history. Well, it's not fair that the Blacks are getting Black History Month, but we're not covering LGBT. Oh, and it's not fair because over here, there's a larger contingent of Hispanics, so we want Spanish history or Hispanic History Month. So, no, we can't get our shit together either. We can't sit in this panel and just say, hey, we all American. Well, I don't count. I'm Canadian, but so no, that same splintering you're pointing out in Rex and in Rex's group, it's happening through everybody and in all of this. And that comes back to my argument over and over and over and over again. And that is, until we stop treating each other specially versus equally, then everybody's going to want a little bit of what everybody else has got, which creates envy, greed. And when you throw envy and greed into the pot, what do you get? Infighting.
But here's the thing, though. Even if you say, hey, we need to take away these special groups and treat everybody equally, I don't think that's ever going to happen because you're always going to have people that are going to get special treatment regardless. So there's always going to be a special group, or those who are higher up are going to give special privileges to certain people or certain demographics. So it sounds nice in theory. Yeah, but if the people in power are the ones who are controlling it and does it,
but they're not.
How are they not?
Anything they do is because we the people, we the sheeple, don't stand up to our politicians, don't stand up to our government, and don't apply the laws. We can prove this. I've proven this through court in custody and access stuff. And if you want to go through that again, more than happy to, but I won't unless somebody throws up and says, do it again, bro. But we can look at what that Libs of TikTok just did. Thank you again, Harry Toe, for the $2. Gary, what's the answer to the question?
That is a yes.
And where does he find them?
Where do you find them? In the description.
We're not shameless.
So right down in the description, click on the link, hit the purchase button.
This
and
is
it
still
will
a
come to your
capitalist
doorstep
country.
in like 15 years, considering the fact that I printed myself.
So
no, I'm joking. It's print on demand.
TikTok is doing the AOC. No, nobody. Oh, so long story short,
I saw that.
Yeah,
right. That's amazing what they're doing. Yeah,
out of shape. Went to the Heritage Foundation. Heritage Foundation helped Libs of TikTok file a complaint against AOC. What kind of complaint was it? Anybody, please? An ethics complaint, an ethics violation complaint.
Oh, wow.
So a normal person was able to reach out, use some basic resources that are available to all. Rex, careful with what you're doing. So a basic, average everyday person was able to reach out with some basic resources and start using our laws that have existed for decades the way they're meant to be. Don't blame government when we're sitting on our butts. And
I have a video that I sent to Maladjusted earlier today, and I'm trying to get his approval before I put it on. But boy, I had a couple of things to say in that daggone video, and I was like, let me see if this is, under the radar of not getting a whole bunch of people like, disgruntled and unsubscribing, because I kind of wanted to go in on those who claim to be, whatever, and I just. I'm 100% with Mel on this one.
Because we'll take it even further. How many of the panel, and Gary, you don't get to answer because I already gave you the answer to this one. So one of the things we want to talk about possibly or eventually is the Just Pearly Things incident that just happened.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How many of you have watched the Nick Fuentes talking part of it?
I watched some of it.
Okay. So Nick Fuentes has or gets into a little bitch fest with the other female panelists. Does anybody did ABV? Did anybody catch what was said?
To the other panelists?
Yeah, it was him talking to another female panelist. She says
No.
something to Nick, and Nick says it back.
No,
She
I didn't
says
see
the
that part.
Italian community doesn't accept you. And Nick replies back, the Italian community doesn't accept you.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you that, Wally. But I want you to apply that statement to last week's conversation. Not the white people, the Italians. They see themselves as a
Different group.
individualized group.
Yep.
Until they need it to benefit them. So
well, that's alliances period, though, June, isn't it?
What is it?
That's making alliances period.
Granted, yeah. I'm just saying I'm not allotted that type of chameleon reflex. I can't just blend in like that.
But
I can't
that's an
say now
assumption.
I accept it. I can't do that.
But that's an assumption.
No, but I can't.
No, that you're saying that's an assumption, but no, nobody refers to me as, hey, you're a Haitian American or you're Haitian. It's just, hey, that black guy Wally.
Okay, but me and you, Wally, we're gonna raise the GoFundMe, and I've done this with Gary too. We're gonna go raise a GoFundMe, and me and you are gonna go down to Little Italy in any city you pick, and we're gonna go looking for work. Which one of us is gonna get a job?
In my opinion, you'll get the job.
Neither of us will get a job. Why?
I'm gonna say neither one because you guys don't speak the language, depending on where you're trying to get the job at. Two, you have to look at who's the one that's hiring, because that you got to think about it. That's what everybody on a business aspect is going to look at. They're going to look for somebody that's going to resonate to their community, to their purchaser.
All right, so
to their buyer.
But
so I'm going to fit in as well as you do.
Repeat.
I'm going to fit in as well as you do in Little Italy, which is not at all.
Put it like this.
I disagree, but
if we made that same argument where we said, hey, let's go to, I don't know, Jamaica or something like that. Okay. And me and you go to Jamaica and they act like we see who are they most likely to hire, me or you. They're most likely gonna hire me because I more so look like them than you look like them. So that's why I'm like, if you go to Little Italy and it's a choice where it's like, look, you have to hire one of these two guys. I'm from the mindset they would hire you before me because you're more of a closer representation of them than me. That's my opinion.
But that's a gun to the head argument. But if they have the choice between hiring you, me, or nobody, neither of us are going to get hired.
Yeah,
just like if
I'm going to jump in for a second. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Thanks, Mal. Thank you. Appreciate it. Just for a second. Because there's a few topics and it's coming up in the chat and we just keep going on. So we need to get back to that. I really would like for us to get back to that also. And as far as what you're saying, Mal, the first question that you asked was who were they going to hire? You didn't offer. The third suggestion was you, Wally, or nobody. You say you or Wally. So with that, it would be, and I would have to agree, and you don't speak the language, so you wouldn't understand. It would be you. It would not be Wally.
Yes.
If there was a question of you, Wally, or no one, then it would probably be no one. But between the two questions, the original question was between you or him, it would be you. That's my opinion.
Okay, so I'm a rebuttal back on that though. Think about it. Mal said if he wears his hair out with his beard not combed down and gelled down and all of that kind of stuff, they may not. they may look at Wally going, hey, he's more clean cut, which may resonate to their clientele. So you
Right.
have to look at the appearance as well.
Why you said in the beginning, who's hiring?
Correct.
Yeah, no, Miss Lamb's got me over the way I posed the question initially was improper.
I think it depends on the type of business we're talking about too. Like, because if what if it's a construction site? I mean, they might see Mal as a rough and tough. Oh, he can handle himself at a construction site. Where me, I'm not. I'll never get that job. I walk up in there with my makeup and say, "Are you crazy?"
I think you're absolutely the odd man out when it comes down to this one. But Harold said I wouldn't hire maladjusted. He looks crazy, and he does look crazy, and that's the
He'll
look
fit
that
in
he
right
chose.
at a bar. Yeah, they'll hire him at a bar or a biker bar or a biker place. Maybe
Fair enough.
A bouncer.
Right. There's certain jobs that he will be a shoo-in for, right? You know what I mean? Because he's 200 some odd pounds, 6'2", so he would be like right up the alley. Like he's scary looking, so people will hire him for those jobs, and they pay pretty damn good. They're not like pushover jobs. They're very aggressive jobs. So I get that.
I mean, flip it on its head. If I walk into a salon and Mal walks into a salon, or Erica and Latoya,
I'm about to say they ain't picking me. They gonna be looking like Sean do makeup, Sean how to do hair. Yeah, they ain't picking me.
I'll give it like some kind of resume.
They'll be like, Rex, when can you start?
Yeah, right.
Highest paid position. I don't even do I hired somebody for this. I hired somebody for the makeover.
Well, look, at least you do that because I don't do makeup at all. So I'm not a makeup person. I'd be afraid I'm gonna break out. So
wait, can I ask y'all a question?
What's up?
Yeah.
It was really the Mal though. What's the difference, right? If I was a woman, right, and I felt like I took a picture and I looked like a 5 or a 6, and I wanted to enhance my features, so I put on makeup and I look like a 10. What is the difference between that person, me, and what Rex does as far as wanting to enhance them? How's that not the same type of mental, whatever it is we call it?
Because Rex, and again, Rex answered this for us, and it's the word consciousness. You're just trying, that person is just trying to enhance what they are. In Rex,
what they look like.
Right, what's already there. Like if you were to go out and get bicep implants and pec implants and so on and so forth, right? You're adding to you as a man. Rex's soul. You know what? Let's use a different word for an argument's sake. Rex's soul was born a man but thinks it's a woman. Your soul was born a man, thinks it's a man, is just trying to enhance your manliness. I don't think I need to be much more succinct than that. Yes?
Yeah, I think you're good on that one.
But June is still digesting it as
no, I know.
At the end of the day, you're still trying to enhance your look, whether it is to be a guy or a girl. You're still at the end of the day just trying to enhance your look. And if to you feel you'll look better as a woman or as a guy or whatever the case may be, you're still looking to enhance the way you look.
You're thinking of it exclusively from a physical perspective. Physical for the sake of physicalness. Rex doesn't want boobs because Rex wants boobs. Rex wants boobs because Rex thinks he should have had boobs to begin with. His soul thinks that he's a woman and women have boobs.
Yes, but I'm saying there are women that think they should have looked that good. And I'm talking about they went from monsters to like amazing looking people. I'm
woman to woman to woman.
Granted, I'm not saying right, wrong. I'm just saying, what is the difference if that's not what you were born as and you're trying to look like that? You look completely like I prefer, and I get shame. I mean, they say shame, but I'd rather someone who's not trying to wear all the makeup. So when I see it, to me, that's not you. That and no offense, Rex, I'm not trying to say anything. I'm just saying I prefer someone who's just natural. Like the makeup to me, that's not you. I don't know who you are. So
when I refer to it as war paint in my house, so I know what you're talking about, bro.
Yeah, so to me, sometimes I look at it as, is that a mental disorder to feel like I can't leave the house unless I
Yes.
spend an hour on my makeup? I know people that do that 2 hours. I'm like, really?
In a
Like,
way, it is. In a way, one could argue it is a slight. Oh, go ahead, Toya.
Up in here because the topic came back around, thankfully, and so June, thank you for that. And when Rex, you were talking about your consciousness, um, to you when you look in the mirror, like you were saying, when when you look in the mirror, or even to come on here tonight, you didn't feel comfortable unless you were the way that we see you right now. And so when it comes to the makeup and all of that, because the original question before was about women and putting on the makeup and the wigs and all of that. And Erica, I agree with you. Like, my hair is a certain way, and try to, after children, different things, your hair changes, the texture changes, different things change. And so you do these things. And my thing is where I believe June is coming from, and Rex also, when you equate the two with the mental health, with the dysmorphia also, it has a lot for women, natural born women, and also those that are not. It has everything to do with your insecurity and what you feel inside. You're doing all of these extra things because we do it too. So my thing, Rex, like you were sharing, you couldn't come on tonight because when you see yourself in the mirror, you don't see yourself in the mirror as the man with the hair and the natural way that you were born. You see yourself you see tonight.
Right.
And my thing is, there are many that have the mindset that you do, that have the that feel the way that you do. Not only the mindset, but they feel the way that you do. So take notes because it was just going on. So I'm trying to get back to when you were sharing, like, your viewpoint will probably have you thrown out somewhere and, ostracized because you call the transgender not a real woman, all of these different things. And so when you bring it full circle, the real issue, like you were saying, is that people are afraid. That's the whole purpose of this conversation tonight. Some people just like, well, just go over there in the corner and this is what you do and all of that. And then you have things that happen in Nashville or wherever because nobody wants to deal with the issue. So that's the whole point of having this conversation, because we have to deal with it. How with anybody? My husband's like, babe, what do you think? I'm like, do you? Like, he's gonna do what he feels to do with this channel. You know what I mean? And I'm all for the most part. We've been together for a long time. We don't agree with a lot of stuff, but I'm all for
Marriage.
How is anybody gonna really have an understanding unless we talk to you? How, because all of this, judging the book by its cover or having your own preconceived notions or whatever the case, but can never actually say, have you had a conversation with them? Have you even spoken to a transgender person or someone that's transitioning? I have. My husband talks, you and him have spoken many times over time. So if you haven't had an interactive conversation, then how dare you judge that? You know what I mean? How dare you? And then, to bring in religion and this and that and all that kind of stuff. At the end of the day, have you even had a conversation? Have you even sat down to talk and to understand, okay, what is it that you feel? Oh my goodness, everyone's dealing with mental health issues. It's not something that cares about your race, your gender, your sexual orientation, or any of that. So I just wanted to jump in for a minute because I'm back and forth and I'm got people feeding here. But that's the whole point of this conversation, because I get it and I'm in the chat and I'm seeing it, and my husband says browbeat a lot. We browbeat people without even given them the time of day to have a conversation, to understand really what you're going through, really what your struggle is. You know what I mean? Where you on the outside look that way, and like I call it your spirit animal, like who you are on the inside. You know what I mean? Who you are on the inside doesn't reflect on the outside. And so this is my thing. Go to bed at peace every night, wake up in peace in the morning. Somewhere in between that, that's not the case, then that's what we're just having this conversation tonight for. Thank y'all for listening.
I
I
just
love
want
the
to
way
chime
she
in.
did that. Yeah.
I just want to chime in too, and I appreciate having this conversation too with you, Rex, because like I said before, the way you broke stuff down gave me a total different perspective on things. Because I think too many times we get caught up with like the loud voices in the trans community, and like how you said, people that think like you, it's more so fear of backlash, so to speak, when you do come out and speak. And it's kind of like the way I interpret it is like how in the black community, the loud voices are the ones that are out selling the drugs, the one that are out on these programs, all this stuff. So people will look at the black community, look at those people and say, that's the voice for the black community, for black America. Not knowing that the majority of the people in the black community has nothing to do with what those loud voices are. So when you broke that down as eloquently as you did, it changed my whole perspective on things where I was getting caught up listening to the loud voices, but not the general population of the trans community. So I appreciate that, the way you broke that down.
Thank you for saying that, Wally. I definitely that that hits because this is my whole purpose. Like I don't come on here to try to convince anybody. I just try to explain stuff. I don't want to come on and convince anybody that they're wrong or they're right. I'm just trying to present a different way of thinking because there's too many voices in my community that are the
Mhm.
authoritarians. They are the people that scream at you and say, use my pronouns, you're misgendering me, so you get fired and lose your job, lose your livelihood. I
Mhm.
absolutely agree, Mrs. Lamb. Like I do this because I'm not a woman and I have to, it's not adding something, it's turning me into me on the outside. I mean, I do have a video queued up in the backstage to explain further consciousness, but yeah, Wally, I mean, if we had more people of my community that approach things, in my opinion, the way that I do and just articulating things differently. But I think that's why I approach it differently because of my philosophy or the philosophy I adhere to as a libertarian of the non aggression principle, of voluntarism and cooperation, and don't use force. Like, stop using the government against each other. Let's come to the table, let's talk about it, and see where we can meet halfway with while remaining within reason. And on some like issue with the kids, people have to come back to the table because I think both communities, my community and the straight non-LGBT, why are straight parents bringing their kids to these drag shows with dudes in G-strings dancing around? I mean, that's something that the straight community needs to figure out too as well.
Yeah.
But
Now,
that's
I
going
do
into
want
a
to ask you a
another.
question, Rex.
I did want you to play the video if you don't mind. I have
I
like
will,
a
but
okay.
yeah, I will. I got you.
Mm.
But I want to ask you this question.
Babe, I'm sorry for interjecting. Breaking Fetters, thank you for the super chat.
Oh,
We
hey, Feathers.
appreciate you. Is that Betty? I just need to know if
Yeah,
that's
that's Fetters. That is Fetters. This is a great live, and I have so much for Rex. I have so much for Rex.
I think
For Rex, keep
they
up
love
the good
Rex.
fight. Gary, love you guys. Yes, that is Fetters.
Uh,
Fetters. Oh man, it's been a long time. We got to get you back on the show, bro. But yeah, I have a question because when you came on, you and Mel.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
yes.
I
that's how
was about
y'all
to
was.
say, so I was like, I'll be back. Yeah, let's
Right. And Toya came in here. She was like, "This is." I said, "No, let it go. I trust it. I trust this. Let it go," because that's the contention point, right? Everybody they would, I'm gonna beat you up. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna knock
Yeah,
you out in
yeah,
the first
yeah,
round.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They came out swinging. You know what I'm saying? So this is the reason why I brought this up. Look at how we're talking now. Different conversation now, right? Different conversation. Um, Rex didn't change his point of view. I seriously doubt that Mel changed his point of view.
I
But
know.
but this right here is the reason why we have this conversation. That point of contention, had it been on the street, would have probably went left, right?
Could have.
Oh,
I don't think so. Nope.
No,
Because
between
your problem is
no. You guys
Not
know
between
each
you
other.
two. If it was
What I'm
between other
saying
people,
in
it could have
general,
went
yeah.
left.
Between other people.
if your mentality hit with Rex mentality, didn't know each other, and y'all went that way, it probably would have went to blows.
because part of the problem is you're
definitely.
thinking that mine and Rex's little dog fight there at the beginning. You're thinking it was based on a point of view, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
It's not.
What
I'm
I
not
was-
talking about.
what
Wait,
I
I'm
was-
not talking. I'm not talking about you, maladjusted. I'm talking about two strangers
Position.
running to one another on the street.
So again,
That's
you're
different
thinking that
context.
my little bark match with Rex was about a point of view, and it was not. It
Super
was
chicken for
both.
$50. Wait, Eric,
Yeah.
$50 super check, super sticker, override everything you saying, Mel. Thank you for the super chat of $50. Truly appreciate what you say. Truly appreciate the super sticker. Thank you very much.
Nice. Yeah. Damn, that's great.
It is about
That's
the
awesome.
lie. It is about the lie. In any conversation, whether we're talking about what we're talking about to begin with, or any conversation. Well, do you know in history, freeze, right there. You cannot compare in any way, shape, or form anything that's happened or is happening over the past 30 years with the past.
Okay.
History has context. History has its own history.
Mal,
I am talking about the energy that came
yes,
along
yes,
the conversation. I'm not talking about the argument itself. I'm
yes.
talking about the energy.
I'd
the
agree.
energy was way off. Okay,
because
that energy could have could have turned into a fight real quick. I am
On the-
not taking this from you. I've done took this ish for too long. I'm
Yeah.
not taking it anymore. That's the energy Rex had.
Yeah.
That's the energy he came with because it felt like an attack.
Yes.
and then on top of that, feeling like one is cutting the other one off too, like as they're speaking, that was
Thank you.
energy where they could have came to blows. You don't see it that way.
Y'all
but
don't
we're
even need
talking
me no more.
two
Y'all don't need me no more.
Strangers, two strangers. Yeah, yeah.
Would
I coulda
never
saw
have a
big-
conversation starting off with history.
I get where he's coming from. I guess it was a little different for me. I agree with Wally and Gary on this because when he started to cut me off, that's how I felt like I'm not going to let people walk all over me. If I am speaking, trying to figure out or trying to finish a point, please don't interrupt me. I'm not interrupting anybody else. That's where I had to push back because, Mal, not for nothing, you were interrupting me and trying to cut me off. And I had to establish that ground rule like, hey, if I'm going to be here, I'm going to have my peace while I'm speaking. And when it's my turn, I'd appreciate not being cut off and not being interrupted just to finish,
Yeah.
that's
Well,
why I kind of
yeah.
pushed back.
Hey,
That was
hey,
my
hey,
reason.
shut
It's
up,
the
shut-
feeling
shut-
of-
shut up. Wait, pause. Is that a second one?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Bruh. What your Harry toe? What's wrong with you?
Yo, Gary shot.
Bro, man, listen. Good super chat. I agree with agree. This is a great conversation. Yes, and I was nervous about this in the beginning. I ain't gonna lie.
Gotta
I was
be.
like, oh god, I'm gonna lose like 50,000 subscribers. Oh my god, this is crazy. But
with all of us on the panel, brother, that would never happen.
Nah, and we're
Hey, well,
Rex to balance it out though.
yeah. Well,
So what
appreciate
I was-
all the super chats and stupid tickets, super stickers. Truly appreciate it.
To what Mal was saying, I think because originally the thought was about, you were saying no, it wasn't the idea, and Gary, what you're saying is the attitude, the contention. That's the issue because Wally, like you were saying, it's the loud voices, and I took Rex's standpoint, like, listen, because there's a whole bunch of loud voices in our life, in our community, on the street, where there's a whole bunch of loud voices, and we're constantly going against the grain with these loud voices to where you can't be heard because all you hear is that. So with the loud voices and the ones that they, like you were saying, they think that that's the spokesperson for the culture. And it's like, wait, hold on, no, absolutely not. I don't agree with you, and have several seats. Go find someplace else to sit. No. And so where Rex is adamant, like, let me speak, let me share that contention. If this was not on a live, and if this was, I'm trying to find the right word for, but a very uncomfortable climate in a certain, neighborhoods. Y'all on the East Coast, I know the deal. Like that could go left real fast.
Very fast.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, it has gone left. Hold on. Fetters hit us up another one. Love you, guy. Love you, Gary. And you have the best representative up there in Rex because I know Rex personally and voice. Yes. Now,
Thank
I've
you.
got a question for the panel. I've got a
Shoot.
very simple question for the panel.
And then I'll finish because I wasn't finished.
Oh no, go ahead, Toya.
It's okay. Do you? Go ahead.
My question is really simple for the panel. If I came to to the Black community and I started a conversation off with a lie, would you stay for the conversation or would you just walk away?
I would correct.
it depends on the conversation.
Yeah.
What?
And here's the thing, why is it a lie? It might not be a lie to you. Maybe you just need to be educated around it. So and you have to understand
it was a lie. If I said that
so what I'm saying, all right, so let's say you came at me, right? And you said something that was off the, Black fathers do not take care of their kids, right? Which seems like a known truth. It's not, but we understand where you got that from, right? Most people that scream shout, these dudes ain't no good, are the very ones sponging off of the government and dealing with a lot of ain't-ish dudes. So I would say I understand where you got that perception from. You're wrong, and here's why. I'm a father. Wally's a father. June's a father. We all take care of our kids, right? So that's a perception. You came at wrong. And I'm like, nigga, who the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I'm like, dog. Wait, wrong.
Again, you're telling me that there's no question that I could walk into your community and ask, and if I asked it, the average person would consider the average, we'll say Black neighborhood. So I go into a Black neighborhood. There's no conversations that I would walk into, and if I started with that, if you can or that question, that you wouldn't in your head think this is a lie. I'm not even going to bother talking to this mofo.
Not us though, Gary. We're civil. We think with level heads. Some people would take offense to it and may even attack you, but we would. I don't see us doing that because we would correct you.
Here's the thing: if you come into the community or whatever, and you say that, you saying that isn't the issue. While I'm talking, or Gary or June is talking and actually trying to educate, and you're constantly cutting them off and yelling and not letting them get the word in, that's where the problem lies. It's not what you're saying, it's your tone and constantly cutting me off as I'm trying to explain myself after you just went into a long diatribe of explaining your point of view.
So it's
dancing around the question.
So it's like a lack of it shows a lack of respect on your end.
I don't think he's dancing around the question. I think he answered it. It's like it's not the question. It's your presentation of the question. If I'm trying to explain something to you, like we have this same problem with. All right, so sorry, all women of the channel and everything like that. It's just, I'm not trying to make it about women. Please, God, this is not what I'm trying to do. It's just, I know y'all better than anything because I've tussled with y'all left and right for 1,000 years. It's just what it is. If I'm talking to a woman and I'm trying to conversate with her and she keeps cutting me off, I get frustrated. It's because you're cutting me off and I'm trying to get my point across because you are not trying to hear. You're not trying to hear what I'm saying. You're waiting for the period so you can respond.
Yes.
And that's a problem. You don't care what I'm saying. You want to get your point across. And it's like, dude, did you just hear what I said? Yeah, but dude, that's not what I'm saying. I'm trying to, and then you go through that, and it's very annoying. Another super sticker, man. Listen, Lord have mercy. Eric, you the king of the year today.
You need a celebration button.
Goes to
I
show,
do have it, but I'm not
I
queued
think
up.
we got a competition.
Eric is
No,
the
we do?
sponsor of Eric is the sponsor of tonight's live, pretty much.
Yes, he is.
Yep.
I'm going to say it one more time and make it quick and simple.
Uh-huh.
Bullshit. Every person on this panel, every person in the world has points of view and perspective that if a person came up and said something that they know is blatantly untrue, would walk away from the
Okay,
conversation.
so I'll go ahead and ask. So what did you believe to be the lie that I told?
You tried to, which is why I was trying to cut into you and get you to differentiate. You try to roll the past 30 years into all of history, and it is a lie.
I don't think that's
all
what
of
he
history?
He said how he asked a question. He said how long has transgenders been around?
I said decades. If I remember correctly, I said decades.
Oh,
I
man.
didn't try to equate it to all of history. I don't think that's what I was trying to say. If that's what I
And
implied.
before he even
You
got
didn't
a
get a
chance to
chance to
finish
say
his
it.
statement, you was on him.
Yeah.
Shout out to
There's
Vic.
your whole problem. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah. No, I was just saying, shout out to Vic in the building.
Big Vic.
But yeah, I did have a video that I came across which kind of sparked that whole consciousness thing in my mind. I don't know if I'd be
Erica
it's a
P.
short 1 minute clip.
Okay. Well, Erica
like-
P, make sure you hold that thought because she looked like she was ready to say something.
Oh,
No. I was just adjusting myself in this chair.
Go ahead. Oh, okay.
I wasn't thinking of nothing. I just had to
So,
move.
oh,
My leg was falling asleep. I ain't want you to notice my leg was falling asleep.
all right. So
Yeah,
I guess
same.
you want
Oh my
to
God.
queue up that video then?
Yes, let's do that.
Yeah, so I mean, so I try to get it landscape, but it's not working landscape. I don't get it.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Is it?
remember.
Can we hear it?
Yeah. Tell me, can you hear it?
No.
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 No. Okay, I'm at because I don't see the audio. The audio.
Are you
option.
in Facebook? Or, I mean, Firefox or
No, it's an
Which one are you in?
application. There's an application window. They
send-
don't allow audio anymore.
Oh,
probably not.
Yeah,
if
there's
you
no
had a
audio
link,
option
If you
under
had a link, I would have
application.
said send it in a private chat.
Oh, I could share the
Right.
system
Gary could-
audio. That should work if I share the
Okay.
system audio.
Is that a trend with a Puerto Rican? Yes.
Huh? What about Puerto Rico? What?
No,
He said, "Is that a
was
trend?
asking if that was
Is
a Puerto Rican
trend
flag behind
with
you.
a Puerto Rican flag in it? Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, well, yeah, it's just a regular. Yeah, I'm half Puerto Rican. I'm half German, with a whole bunch of mix in between it. I'm getting to it. It's probably because I'm sharing it from my phone. I don't know if I
Oh,
would
that's
have
why.
to pick up
Okay.
the video.
Okay.
Yeah,
Got
that's going to
you.
be a
I
problem.
got
But
the
can
link share,
Can you?
but
send
it
to
should
me
work
in,
now.
in the chat or the private.
You said it should work now, so you want to try it and see if it'll work.
Mm-hmm.
If not, then just send it private in the private chat, I guess.
All right, so was I. Still nothing.
Nope, still nothing.
Sorry.
Yeah, I
man.
hear it in my headset too.
Oh no, you got to
Yeah.
disconnect the headset.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is.
So yeah, I'll just look up it's a quick clip at the end.
All right. Another $5
Yeah,
super
I
chat.
got this.
Drop money and walk out, boss.
Boss.
Bought
Boss.
the whole live a drink or two. Well, 50 actually, a lot of drinks.
Yeah, man.
I'm about to say,
So
cashing on them diet sodas right about now.
Diet soda. That's no.
I'm a
Yeah.
diabetic. I
Yeah.
drink diet sodas. I'm not trying to run my sugar up right now. Thank you. Give me my diet soda. I do not need to take insulin for that.
Mm.
So okay, so I got a question, and I know Rex, you, Gary, and Mal, y'all speak, outside of being on, the platform. So this question is more so for June and Erica. Does this conversation like change your perspective anyway when it comes to, the trans community? And before you go, we got another super sticker, Gary.
I'm gonna feel like I'm gonna have to dance for you in a second. Jesus.
Where them dollars at? Where them
What?
dollars
I
at?
ain't say all that now. Come on. I ain't busting out no daggone pole.
Mm.
You wild out on that one.
Well, hold up, we ain't doing none of that now.
I know, right? So,
I think I
yeah.
got the clip pulled up. I can just pause it when.
All
Yeah,
right. So
that,
yeah,
that
does
should
it
definitely
change
work.
any? Does it change any of you, ladies and gentlemen, perspective on anything?
Okay, so it changes mine a little bit because I'm gonna throw myself out there. I'm not as educated on your community, so I really felt like certain people were trying to replace my community, which was the logic that I was getting. Like when you start looking at the videos on TikTok or you start trying to do any little bit of research, like you said, it's always the loud ones that you see stuff about. So I really can't find too many people that are saying the opposite, where it's like, no, we like what you have and we're trying to emulate that. You don't see that many people saying that.
I
But then
think
on the flip side is I also have watched, certain shows and I'm like, oh, yeah, put some time and some work and effort in it. Cause I'm not gonna lie, I'm not doing that kind of work. It looked like a lot of work, and I'm just not all that interested. So it's like it's a catch-22. It's like I admire what they do, but then I'm like, it's a difference between admiring and then trying to replace.
right. That's a huge difference. Thank you for saying that, because it's like that's why I came into this saying I'm only speaking for myself. I don't perceive myself to be some representative or speaking behalf on the trans community of the LGBT. I'm just little old me, and I have my own reasons for doing what I do, but it backtraces to the origin of the whole problem between this trans and what it's about and gender dysphoria, because I don't think there's enough people from my side approaching it from the way that I do. More of us people that think like me have to start out in speaking, because I think the position that I'm taking more or less is the most balanced, the most reasonable, adhering to the real world principles of our not only society, but the facts in biology, how men, women differ, and going back to the whole non
Right.
binary, how they're trying to erase both trans women and women by this whole concept of non-binary ism.
But Rex, wait, let me push back on Rex. I just gotta say, one thing I kind of didn't like how you were. It seemed as if you were throwing some dirt on the non-binaries, as
Oh,
if
absolutely.
see, but that
I don't make no quarter. I don't take no quarter with these because they're not kind to me. I mean, they would punch me in the face. They'd probably kill me if they had the chance. Some of them, some,
but
because they're
And
not
that's why
giving you a
my view
quarter.
has not changed.
They're
Right
not
there, what
giving
you just said. That
because
right there is why and Rex, we've had this conversation 1,001 times. I love you dearly, I do, but
okay.
my views still have not changed. When
Right.
it
In what
How
comes
old is
down
context?
it?
to it,
Ish.
In what
oh, let
context?
me finish. Because okay, I still think it's a mental problem. I
You
think
agree?
that you're I think you're seeking attention
Okay.
that you can't get, right?
In what context?
Well, I don't think you love yourself.
I think I'm attempting to love myself.
Right. And I think you're failing. And that's how I look at it. And I still to this moment feel that way. And I don't, and I'm not saying it to be rude or mean or nasty or anything. It's just I think you're seeking love in the wrong place. I just think you're not being true to yourself and honest with. That's my point of view. It just hasn't changed. And don't get me twisted. I hear exactly everything you're saying. I've gone through a lot of questions in my head as well, right? This is why I said mental problems and stuff like that, because I've sat there and I had to learn how to love me, and it's not easy. It wasn't easy for me, right? So I get all that. I still think you're running from the real problem. I don't know what it is. I don't know. That's for you to find out. I just think you're running from the real problem.
I think the opposite. I think I'm running towards the problem. This is my solution, because it's a solution that is more or less working for me. That's why I put the effort in to shave my body, to go on the HRT, to appear as femininely as I possibly can, because I feel so much more at home with my consciousness than I would physically present as the masculine regular self. I mean, that's why.
But why?
Queued up.
But why? Why do you feel more as yourself as a feminine person?
I feel like I explain it. It's more in line with my quote unquote natural state of being, to where my physical body more closely represents how I feel inside as my consciousness feels. That's why it's so convoluted, because all we're dealing with is emotions. But that's why it's so hard to catch that balance between emotion and logic, to where, like, if I go too far with this, or allow my mind to be taken away with the wind of these non-binary fascists, because I'm not trying to paint the whole non-binary community as a problem either. There's plenty of non-binary identifying people that just want to do their thing, wear their makeup and a 5 o'clock shadow beard, even though I think that's absolutely ridiculous. It makes no sense. But that's me. Even I look at that and I get dysphoric as hell. Because if I put on some makeup and a wig and leave my beard on my face, that's dysphoric to me, because I don't want that facial hair. But somebody else can do that.
To me, though, this is my thing.
It is dysphoric. I admitted that when I came in here.
Like,
it's the DSM-5, bro. It's a mental disorder. Your problem is that you have a problem with me accepting that I have a disorder. I am of the abnormal.
No. That's not it. That's not it. That I think you made that perfectly clear, spot on, that you accept that you have that issue.
But your problem is that I'm accepting it instead of fighting against it.
No, I think you're barking up
running away from it instead of dealing with it.
Right. I think you're barking up the wrong tree. It's not.
So how would
you're no different? You're no different. Contextually speaking, the statement is this: you're no different than the woman who's with a different man every day trying to find a daddy that she never had.
Thank you, Mel. Perfect example. It's like you're running from the truth.
You have a void. Sorry, Gabe, because this is the one everybody here has heard me use before. You have a void in you that you're trying to fill. Gary's saying you're trying to fill it, or you know what? Because I'm going to lump me in, because I agree with Gary in here. This is part of why I'm trying to get away from it being specifically talking about transgender talk. You have a round hole and are trying to fill it with a square peg. Because it doesn't fill, it will forever be sucking everything in.
But the fact that I can sit here and say this makes me whole and this makes me happy, categorically refute that. No matter what you tell me, how I feel inside doesn't make what you say true.
Exactly. That's why I say this is a round and round conversation. From our perspective, you're full of it. From your perspective, we're full of it. And this is my point. It's a round and round conversation.
It's a roundabout conversation, because I think it's like you don't, or Gary and Mal, you don't want to accept that this is just the way it is for me, because I'm not gonna, like, we don't I don't do this for fun. This is not fun for me. Gender dysphoria is not a good happy old time the way some of these LGBT people make it seem.
I would never say that. Like I said, when I've spoken to quite a few, I know quite a few. You're taking yourself into, for the lack of better terms, like, the line of battle to be yourself and how you consciously see yourself. So I would never say, me personally, that you are doing this for fun. Like, who would do that?
Exactly. here's my thing with it, because like we said, we're basically talking round and round and round. At the end of the day, the way I see it is that's pretty much what you feel makes you feel complete and make you feel whole, right, Rex? So at the end of the day, what it comes down to is, if we're talking about community and everything like that, how do we go moving forward where it's like, yo, we must respect our Rex, we must respect, other people's side of, like,
Force.
basically, what'd you say?
Force. That's what you're talking about. There's only two sides, in my opinion. Somebody can try to prove me wrong. Either I'm going to be forced into accepting Rex, or I'm going to have the freedom to disregard Rex.
Okay, so in what context forced?
I've already
I'm not forcing you to talk to me. I'm not
forced
forcing you to be
speech,
on a panel with me.
forced speech, forced hiring practices,
Yeah,
forced allowance of, and again, and it's not
Mhm.
fair. I use the term Rex, and I'm going to walk that part back. The community and the concept falls under one of two categories: either full freedom or force or force.
Right. I'm categorically against all that. That's why I also say, and it's a phrase that some people like me use, is that the LGBT is not a monolith. We do not all think alike. We're not some hive mind. I know it seems that way in your super small world of Twitter and TikTok. It seems like we've been saying, that the loudest voices get the most attention, and we've been too quiet, or
And
I've
the
been
laws.
somebody who's too quiet.
And the laws.
Yes, that's another thing. But that's what I'm saying, is how could such a small segment of the population wield such massive political power? It doesn't make any sense for the trans community to all of a sudden gain this massive overreaching, reaching into the schools, reaching into the workplace, reaching into Hollywood. There's something else behind the curtain. In my opinion, anyway, that's where we could put the tinfoil hats on, go down the rabbit hole. I think this is forced. It's pushed. It's not organically from the LGBT. It's been hijacked.
Yes, it is.
We're being used to an alternative means, because trans people just want to blend in and we want to assimilate. That's why people like me, we want to just transition to appear like we could just branch off into the category of she, her, or him. Like
And
Buck
again,
Angel, Blair White.
and again, we keep reverting back to just talking about us versus trans, so to speak. This did happen organically, because what happened? We had a whole America, then we carved it into this group, and this group. And this group got a little bit more power than the other groups. So as an extension, other groups wanted to figure out how to subdivide and subdivide and subdivide and subdivide and subdivide. So what we have is an issue of mitosis. We're subdividing our groups because everybody wants that special gold star sticker on their forehead.
What do you recommend, though?
I said it once. I said it. We need to abolish all these special interest group laws and rights.
But when there's
But there's also something else you want to do as well, right? Maladjusted. What is that?
What was that? Sorry?
Isn't there something else you want to do? You want to be able to do? What is that?
Well, it just by abolishing it, I have the right to choose. If I open up a business, I should be able to hire whoever I want, whether it's all men, all women, all Hispanic, all. So if I want to open up a lingerie shop exclusively for trans people, I should be able to open up Mel's tranny lingerie shop, hire only trannies, and exclusively cater to them. I should have that right. And if my business goes under, it's nobody's business and nobody's problem but my own. Just like the funny example of me, I as a white man should be able to go down into any neighborhood I want, a black neighborhood, open up a clothing store and say whites only. And if my business goes tits up, it's my own fault. But I should have the right to choose.
I'd agree.
I shouldn't have to worry about going to jail for what comes out of my mouth.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Unless it's an open threat to a person.
But why do you agree with that? Like, why is that? Like, what's good about what he said?
Because that goes into my libertarian philosophy that I adhere to, that well, the capitalists are libertarian. We highly believe in the right of private business to govern their own business as they please. So they can refute their own customers for whatever reason. And then that's up to the community to decide, well, hey, we're not going to spend our money at your business. You can go tits up, so to speak, or that's up to the community to support that business. That's the beautiful thing about local business, is they could have as much support or a little support. But now when we get to monopolies, then that power is taken away, and then we have subsidiaries and everything controlled by the federal government. But that's getting into a whole thing.
Yeah, but when you're
But
when you're able to reject people from coming into a store, it's going to cause chaos. People are going to start running
A
in there.
lot
shooting.
of
Yeah,
chaos,
because
and
it's
I
like
think that's
like, which
Yeah.
kind of
that's
chaos? Like,
what kind of chaos? Are you serious? So
like the trans,
yeah,
like the trans, like his example of a trans business is only going to be trans
we
people
kind of
walking
did
into
that
there.
before, and blacks didn't like it at all. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, I could, yeah, but see, there's a different connotation to that, I think. But then obviously that community is going to go tits up because thankfully America doesn't operate like that anymore.
Not unless no. Wait a minute. Hold on. If you're not the majority, if you're the majority, you can pull that off
Hmm.
easily,
Okay.
right? You can pull
Hmm.
that off as a majority.
Okay.
As the vast majority, the minority, Rex,
Hmm.
you're done. There is no place for
Yeah,
you to go.
there's no
Yep.
business anymore. I agree.
There's
But then
no
on the
place for you to go. You don't have enough numbers
right,
to survive in an environment like that.
so that I mean that's the same thing could be said on the flip side is like if it's a black community and they don't want to hire white people, you should have that right too.
yes, but
We
we're a
Yeah,
but
small
see, here's the
but when
thing:
you
But that's
have
the
but when you have a
at what
black
point is it no longer a right and it's just eradication?
correct.
Eradication of
If I can't, okay, if I open up a store, right?
okay.
First of all, I don't have the funds to open up the store. Number one,
hmm
I don't have it.
who's
Does
giving you
black
wrong?
Two, two, what community is going to support a black person if we're all segregated?
Correct.
You already explained. You already explained the fact that certain individuals are not going to hire you simply because of the way you look, right? So, if I'm going to open up a store, I need to have the funds to do so, right? But
Okay.
wait a minute, I don't have the funds to do it. So what do I got to do? I got to go to work. Hold up, I can't get hired either.
Not always.
hmm
So
Crowdfund.
where am I going to start my community?
Crowdfund.
Well, see, this is the
Partner.
Wait a
problem.
minute, hold on. But you just said that I'm only going to support people that looks like me and
Yes,
think like me,
exactly.
so
Okay.
I can't
Exactly.
get crowdfunding either.
So is literally the whole community against you? Really, you only need one
You
wealthy
literally just
person to
said it.
support you and invest in
According
your
to
business.
maladjusted,
See,
he should
see,
be able to do that.
let me
Open up a
see.
community, right? He opens up his community, and he says, "Hey, everybody that thinks like me, look like me, and live like me, come on in. Everybody else, you can't come in. You're the mass majority. You can do that. For everybody else, you're just screwed.
Mm-hmm.
You can,
Okay.
Rex. You will not survive that environment.
No, I won't.
You
But
just
that's
won't.
why I won't go there.
Yes, they
I'll-
will. And we can already prove that Rex's community will. Across the United States, I can think of 3 art communities where they are dominated by the alphabet mafia.
But how did they get the funding?
are
Maladjusted.
thousands.
Wait a minute.
They are
Mala.
thousands.
Mal, how did they get their funding? You have to get initial funding first.
Mhm.
How
See,
did
that's
they
the
get it?
problem, though. A lot of times you can't trace the funding. And I think that's the other issue. You have a lot of things happening, and people don't know where the funding is coming from. People don't know where the initiative even came from. It just popped up all of a sudden. And I
I
think
mean-
that's the other issue. I can
think-
research as much as I want to try to research. I can't tell you what correlation, what coalition is supporting what's going on right now. That's a problem for me
I'll
because
give you
I am the business-minded person and I can look it up. There, usually there's some kind of lobbyist program supported by blah, 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 blah. I don't see that.
Shaq, LeBron James, Snoop Dogg could all get together and buy a Walmart franchise and put it in the middle of Walmart that fast. That's the kind of money they're
If
sitting.
they give a damn.
But that's if they care. And that's
Right.
the problem. A lot of them don't think
See,
about it.
see.
If you take Shaq, right? Shaq owns, what is it? Some of the Papa John's, right? But do I know which Papa John's is his? No. Is it that I don't care to support him? It's not that. I just don't know. I see him in the commercials, and that's it. That's all I really know. Now, if
But
I
there is money in the black community, which is what you guys are talking about. There is money in the black
Correct.
community to do this stuff. Whether or not you choose to band together, if segregation, the way we're talking about, would happen, I can't speak to. I'm not part of that community. But
correct,
but
but I'm a part of that community, and guess what? The support is really not there.
But wait, why do we think there's money in the community to do that? Like, why do we think there's enough money to help all of us? How is that?
It's enough to help a select few of us, and those people are going to probably be in a family environment. I'm going to help my sister, I'm gonna help my brother, I'm gonna help my
Yes.
cousins, and then I'll branch out from there. Everybody else is going to starve.
Correct.
Simple.
But think
Here's the
about
funny
it.
part. Wait. But here's the funny part.
And that's
They're
what-
going to starve until they run out of money, right?
Correct.
Once my black community starves out, guess what happens to the business? Because Maladjust is not going to support that business. Rex is not going to support that business, right?
I mean, that's
So
assuming I'm
it's
not going to
limited.
support it. I mean,
No brony supporting
Why
that
would
one.
you? You can't. You'll be a fool to support it with your money.
well, you're
Why?
saying that I'm not.
Walmart,
Yeah, like
you
why
know,
would I
like,
support a business that I'm not welcome to? It's
You're
absolutely
not
right.
I can't. I'm not. You're not welcome to be hired, nor are you welcome to come
Yeah.
in and even do business.
So
I
why
don't
would I do that?
support your kind.
But then I can go
So
create my own business and then
with
bar
what money
you.
though?
Crowdfunding.
Trans
That's
community.
I mean,
Again, if you don't have enough, okay, you want a crowdfund, right? Okay, how many Rexes out there are going to want a crowdfund, and how many people are willing to support those Rexes?
I think that's where we get into a more localized community mindset versus people that just don't care. Like if I go and I approach somebody, gain investors with a good idea, a good business model that makes sense, and say, hey, this will make me profit, but you get to be an investor, you get to be a shareholder, you'll make money too. Like we're talking about capitalism. And if somebody comes up with a good business model, there will be people to fill that market.
what
Yeah.
we're talking about argumentatively. Now, if you guys want me to do a deep dive and to put 1,000 times more receipts than I've already done, show after show, I'll be more than happy to. But what you guys are arguing about is what every other community in the United States has done. This is what the Italians did to get their community and money in their community. This is what the Asian communities did. This is what the Filipino community
Correct.
did.
And
These
like I
are
said,
all
I
people
haven't.
that have. Go ahead.
What I was going to say is those are all people that have a sense of belonging. They belong to that main community and they came together collectively.
And what?
The
And what's
problem
something
is
else
the
that
black
they have?
community is so segregated that you can't do that because there is no common goal for everybody.
And what was
When
that?
you
The
have
one thing I wanted
black-
to add, Erica P, is
ahead.
that these Italians and Asians and stuff, what do they all have? A country, also.
Correct.
Ooh, that
And I
hurt.
They
think
have
that's
a
the
country.
that's the logic
That
because
hurt.
think about it. Like I said,
That-
you will have Haitians band with other Haitians. You'll have Jamaicans band with other Jamaicans. Well, guess what? I'm an American. I'm a Black American, and the furthest that I can trace my family back to is Georgia. I can't trace it any further than Georgia. That's it. That's the furthest I can go back. I can go back 7 generations, and it's Georgia. I don't know any place other than Georgia that they came from, and that's the issue. Am I going to have people that may support me? Possibly. But that is a gamble for somebody like me compared to a Haitian, a Jamaican, a African from Africa, because they can go back and trace their lineage. And then they're like, hey, countrymen, this is what we're about to do. We're about to open up this restaurant. Y'all going to come support me. That may not happen for me because there is no common Black American XYZ input here. It's not there. I can say, hey, I'm about to open up a soul food restaurant. My soul food is different in New Jersey than it would be if I was in Georgia. It'd be different if I was in California or if I was in North Carolina.
You know how many?
Those are the
You know how
problems
many?
that people don't always see.
Harisha Maya, whatever the heck. Hiroshima, bro, you are
Hiroshima.
spot on. Hiroshima, I'm with you 1000%. There ain't no way in hell I'm turning away from money. Are you serious? I can give a
Correct.
damn if you blue. Come on
Yep.
in. Your money spent well here. That's
And do you
that's
know?
that mentality just don't make sense to me. I'm not going to tell you you can't come in here because of the way you look. No, if you don't stink and you're not trying to destroy the place, come on in and get some food.
Green is green.
Green is green. I'm
Exactly.
not about to tell you you can't spend your money, and I'm damn sure not going to tell you if you're a good employee that you can't work here. You know how
Right.
hard it is to find a good employee as it is.
That's
And
that's
again,
capitalism.
That's gonna show up on time.
And
Yes.
here's another thing
Every
too.
day,
Like,
and don't call out.
here's another thing too, Gary. You can attest to it. In New Jersey, how many black businesses show up in these communities and don't make it 2 years?
Most of them.
But you have to think about it though. Most companies' failure rate is 2 years.
Yeah.
That's the thing though.
But
you
but
have
no,
to
but
be able
but
to have
but
your plan for more than 2, because the problem
but
is most people
Erica-
don't break even before them 2 years.
But Erica, the thing is that people are thinking, oh, it's a black community. You open a black restaurant, black people love eating soul food, the whole nine, it's going to prosper. And that's not the case. They always wind up going down and under.
Okay, I want to back up Erica's point with the law.
Super sticker.
Oh, damn.
Ah, make the noise. Make the noise.
All right, that's it. Then. I gotta find my wig. I'll be right back. Shout out to Fetters. Is in the daggone house. What's up, Fetters?
Hey,
get
Fetters.
your
What's up,
your
Fetters?
say
What's
whatever you
up?
got.
What's up?
I gotta go get my wig and I gotta find the damn song. So hold on.
All right. Mal, you was about to say something.
So I'm going to back
Oh,
up
he was
Erica.
about to play that video too.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
gonna get later.
Well, because before the video, I have a question with you, Rex, but I want to finish with Erica first.
Yeah.
So Erica's point is this, Wally, and I'm going to back up, and it's the law of lying math. How does math lie to us? I open up a cell phone company, and 10% of all the cell phones I manufacture are poached. If I only sell 1,000 cell phones, 10% of them fail, how bad does that look? Pretty damn bad, right?
Pretty bad. Yeah.
But if I sell 100,000 cell phones and 10% of them fail, it doesn't look quite so bad, does it? And if I sell 1 million cell phones and 10% are failing, it looks even smaller. So it's the law of mathematics, right? So we argue that this thing happens, but Erica's right. The average business doesn't survive past year 2 or year 3 in any community, no matter who starts it. That is the average startup business failure rate. It looks worse and it hurts worse when it's a inter-ethnic business here, an inter-ethnic community here. It looks bad when you compare it. So if I'm Irish and I open up an Irish pub in an Irish section of the city and it fails, it looks bad because, oh, well, man, all these Irish pubs are failing. Well, no, it's still sticking to the 2% rate. So don't believe the lie that math can sometimes tell. And it's a truth and a lie all rolled up in one.
Oh, but since we're all right with lies, there was something you said when you said look at the Italian community and the Asian community and how they built up their communities. For one thing, the Italians, I want you to know, they had a mob system running where they were getting jobs in the police force. The Italians, they were getting jobs. So then they have people watching their drug dealers and everything, and they had security there. I just want you to know. So it's a lot easier for them who they can.
You're telling me that's not happening in the current black community?
I'm just saying we don't get hired in those. We didn't get hired in those positions then. You think there was sergeants at the same rate as the Italians? That's what you're saying?
No.
So
in their specifically in their community?
Correct.
I can't talk
Well,
about that.
I can tell you no.
Of course,
but there's an initiative now, and that's the problem.
Now
we don't. You got to think about when people wanted to get into the force. You're talking this was 10, 15, 20 years ago. Now you got the biggest initiatives, and they can't find people. because those are jobs people don't want to do anymore. Those are jobs where if you're getting the regular Joe Smo that's in that community, they know for all of the extra headache that they're about to go through, you're not making enough money to do it.
But to roll this a little back to the start of this. So here's kind of going in a different tangent, but back on the original conversation.
Okay.
Rex, you want to medically transition, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. How old are you? Ish. Just
30.
give me the general.
Early 30s.
Okay. So here's my question to you. In 10 years, after 10 years of taking all these chemical treatments, what's going to happen to your body?
It'll probably, from what I've researched, I will probably be cutting my life a little shorter.
Okay.
To put it in
Define that.
actual-
Can you define some of the things that you're going to go through for us, please?
Probably bone density loss, impotency, most likely. Other effects to like internal organs. I still got to research the effects more, but I wouldn't be doing this because in my opinion, transitioning medically is the last resort. It shouldn't be the first option.
Don't jump too far ahead of my question for me. So we all heard all these the medical issues that Rex is looking to put himself through. Okay. So here's my question to follow up with that. Who's going to pay for your osteoporosis? Who's going to pay for your transfusions? Who's going to pay for all these things? Because you're going to basically prematurely age your body.
So you're saying the taxpayer? Yeah, I would assume that the taxpayers would pay, but I am more so less. Taxation is theft to me. I'm libertarian. Taxation is theft. So unless they're consenting to paying for that, well, then I'm screwed. Because if nobody's consenting, then I'm not okay with that.
And why should we?
Why should you what? Pay?
Why should we pay for that? Like he's making a freaking amazing point. Why should we pay for that?
I don't have an answer to why. That's why I said voluntarianism, cooperation, and that's up to the person if they decide they would want to, I don't know, help me save my life or pay for my osteoporosis. I mean, that's why I would go with, if we're going to pay taxes, it should be consensual. That's the only way.
The same argument could be made on, the same argument can be made on those that smoke cigarettes or drink alcohol.
Well, see,
bottom line is Rex is, doing what.
Oh, we already do.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's me.
That's fetish.
Rex,
Yeah,
I recognize
Rex
his
is
voice.
doing what he feels is his right under the Constitution.
But we already do
constitutionally. Okay, we already covered. Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to force it on anybody.
If you need an organ,
but you are though. Wait a minute.
How?
But you are.
How?
See, that's the argument that a lot of us are having when it comes down to it. And you and I had this conversation earlier today, and I told you this was going to come up.
Okay.
Right?
How am I forcing it?
Because so if you get sick, you think we're just going to allow you to just deteriorate somewhere and that's it?
That would be your choice whether you would want to do something about it or not.
But you're putting that on us. I'm not.
Okay. You're putting that on yourself. I mean, whether you feel guilty about that or not, that's entirely. If somebody else would just walk past the street and just be like, "Oh well, screw him."
See, but that's the issue, though. People can't do that because think about it, right? I'm gonna throw myself out there. I'm a diabetic. If I decide not to take my insulin, right, I would be in the same boat. That means kidney failure. That means I could have a heart attack. That means amputations. That means permanent disability. Those are all things that would translate if I choose not to take my insulin. It's almost the same logic. I can make that my choice, but now I'm leaving it onto somebody else's hands. And I think that's the underlying issue. It's like, hey, I have no problem with you choosing to do what you want to do. That's not my issue. My issue now is you're forcing me to make the decision, but it's really not me making the decision. It's whatever medical facility you ended up getting dropped off to making that decision for me. That's you deciding to forego your medical treatment to get worse, to get on because it could possibly lead to you being on a transplant list. Now they're going to ask you all of these other factors when you hit this transplant list. Hey, did you smoke? Did you drink? Did you take any altering medications. When you start putting these checklists in, it's like, hey, I feel like if I'm somebody who I did nothing, but we're on the same list, and then you jump the line because you're far off than I am,
Yeah.
but you gave yourself something to do that might be an issue now for me.
Right, but then it's the same thing like smoking a cigarette.
Correct,
have
but
the
guess
Or
what?
eating
I
too
choose
much.
not to do that stuff.
Anything.
I don't
Exactly.
smoke. I don't drink. I don't do none of that stuff.
But
But is it a choice? Yes, everybody has that choice. I feel like I could do everything possibly right, but I still can't change the fact that I need insulin. I still can't change the fact that my organs can still shut down for something that's not in my control. I could do
Okay, that's what
everything
you
the doctor tells me to do to take care of diabetes, and I still could get to that point.
Okay, I want to pick on everybody because y'all are picking on me for a little bit.
I mean, I was probably
You're,
going to
you're wrong. You're wrong about a thing that you all keep bringing up. So my bad habit costs about $25 to $35 a carton to produce. It costs about $140 to buy that same carton because the other $105 are a sin tax for my habit. So not only do I pay increased insurance for any insurance because of my habit, I also pay a gobsmack of extra for my habit as a sin tax.
Yep.
And I'm put to the bottom of almost any health-related medical procedure because of my
based off of your choice.
And that's
So-
where. Go ahead.
So I was going to say, so using cigarettes, and I'll say because alcohol is the same way. There are off the top sin taxes that the company is charged. So when you make a case of beer, Budweiser pays a sin tax for making that case of beer that goes to the government. Then that case of beer gets sold to a store who sells it, who then on top of which has to charge a sin tax for that. So cigarettes and alcohol pay sin taxes for those habits. And those people are ostracized to the bottom of health condition lists if it's found that, oh, your liver's shutting down because you can't put that bottle of tequila away. So when we try to compare cigarettes and alcohol, keep in mind that there are sin taxes charged for that sin.
See, I didn't know that. That's something I didn't know
Take what
because
he
I
just
don't
said.
partake in those. Yeah.
No, wait a minute. Now take what he just said and look at what you're choosing to do.
Yeah.
And you get to do
I
it for
agree.
free.
Well,
So-
I mean, from my perspective, I'm in the state of New York, right? I mean, people apparently are more than happy to pay for my stuff. I mean, healthcare is a human right, apparently, and trans rights, trans, all support all day. So
Which
if they're going to
brings-
consent
oh,
to
boy,
pay
you're
for my
you're
stuff,
making Mount
and
Justice's point, though.
I'm about to say you just made
no,
his point
because
for him, though.
You-
That's the
You
problem.
literally just did because
Well, yeah,
that's
because
why he
I
wants to
would-
get rid of the special groups
But I
because
would
you're
argue
getting.
we live
you're-
in a
well,
free
hold on.
society, right? We do live in an individual liberty capacity where liberty and bodily autonomy is up to us. We're adults. We get to decide what we do with our bodies, whether that's for the positive or the negative. It's solely our personal responsibility. So what we do to ourselves is not, you're not responsible for that, for what I do to
But
myself.
wait a minute, hold on. But you're
technically-
making us responsible for it.
Yeah.
But that's the government forcing you to be responsible, not me.
Correct. But that's the
But
thing.
you
though.
are because you're participating in it.
Yeah.
But I'm not the one forcing. I'm not the one going to the government telling them, "Hey,
But
you
you're
have to
part-
pay this."
but- Rex.
So
if you know that this is going to degenerate your body,
yeah,
and you say, I don't care, I'm gonna do it anyway.
yeah.
You are participating in it anyway, which means that your special privileges should be removed.
I agree.
Wait, how about food? And Mal, can you answer that? Is there a sin tax on food?
Yes.
There is.
Junk food and stuff like that, at least in some states and some places, have applied sin taxes to certain junk foods.
Okay, but regular food, people can eat too much red meat and they get a heart attack or they get certain things also. So I just want y'all to know that there are things you can't just say because you do this, you're all. Are we looking for reasons? Because I was a transphobe. To be honest, I was transphobic to the top. I felt uncomfortable. I felt as if they had a power to do something to me. I was very illogical, to be honest.
Well,
Now
they
I
did
see it
have a
from,
power. They do have a power to do something
no,
to you. You
but
say something wrong, they can get rid of your job and all kinds of stuff. They actually do have power.
So
but
let's separate.
I don't acknowledge that power. I don't look at it as, I don't see a threat when I think of that. So because of that, I don't see that harm. So my thing is I just want to understand how they think. And that's why I just appreciate you being there, because trust me, I used to use the Bible heavy, and I'm about the Bible, following the Bible. So instead of telling them God loves them, I would always just tell them the negatives. Like, oh, you're sinning, you're doing this. With me, I'm just a truth guy. So I was doing a lot more harm than good because I just didn't want to hear it. I thought, let me ask you this, Rex. How do you feel knowing you getting to live your life the way you want it? It creates certain things where there is drag story hour, there is kids transitioning at young age. How do you feel knowing that that's what is happening? And it started with people transitioning and getting to live their own life.
I don't think this started with people transitioning. I think this started when some rogue set of society decided that the LGBT was going to force this onto everybody else, and then going through the kids, going through the schools. How am I supposed to take personal responsibility? Well, I mean, I'm trying to do something about it. I'm up here on a panel, super massively uncomfortable because this like literally my second time on a panel, like speaking out against what's going on, because it's snowballed. It's gotten to the point where okay, the straight people aren't stopping this. The non-LGBT community isn't like really coalescing here. We have parents, straight parents, that are taking the kids to the drag queen story hour with the non-binary 40-year-old man in a G-string dancing around. And then we have also what's the other perspective here? The government that's enforcing it as well. So it's like there has to be some pushback from the LGBT now. Like we have to clean up our own space. Like the LGBT and the straight community, I think, does have to unite, which is what the whole division that is being created on. I mean, that's why I'm here, is to try to speak out against and try to give a different perspective as somebody from the LGBT community that is full send disagreement with Drag Queen Story Hour and the sexualized books in school. What the hell are you like throwing a 6-year-old a book about masturbation and oral sex? Like that is categorically immoral. It's corruption of the mind of a child, and it's robbing the children of their innocence as well. Another
Because
thing
I
I
want to
think
be a
you
little
said.
clear. I want to be a little clear because I think I know where you're going, June. For
Mm-hmm.
somebody like me, what we're talking about, I break it into two things. There's the laws and there's the shields that people are given. That's what I fight against. Rex, after the panel, want to go for a beer?
I mean, I would agree, but I don't drink. So
But
yeah,
you know what
I will.
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I don't care if Rex wants to go out looking like Rexette, as I phrase it, right? If me and Rex lived in the same town, as soon as this panel's shut down, Rex damn well knows I'd invite him, her, whatever. Let's go out for a beer. Me and Rex have had plenty of hour-long conversations shooting the shit.
you know what's funny? I'll probably be the best wingman you ever had.
Right.
And
sure.
See,
but my point is that sometimes people muddle what's being said of being anti-Rex versus anti-laws, rules and regulations. Rex can do whatever Rex wants to do. I don't give a flying you know what. But it shouldn't be done on the back of taxpayers' money. And other people should be able to verbally, and I'm not saying being dinks about it. I should have the right to say, I disagree with you, Rex. I don't want you in my zone. This is my area. You go do you over there, boo. I'm going to do me over here. It's all good. It's all good. Rex does what Rex wants. No, but forced speech, forced hiring, forced so on.
Pause. So, Bam, I'm not sure what's going on between you and my wife, but I'm going to not ask you. I'm going to tell you to pull that shit off. I mean, don't do that. That's my wife right there. We don't do that. I don't know what this is, but I'm not trying to police your speech. She's just asking a question. Are you referring to Rex as an it? If that's cool, if that's what you're doing, I'm going to ask you to respect Rex, but I'm going to tell you to respect my fucking wife.
Okay, so I've been reading Bam. I don't think Bam listened in the beginning. Rex, what are your pronouns? And I think that was the issue. That person asked it before, but I don't think we ever got to it.
No, he
No,
Rex
meaning
definitely.
in the
Oh, okay,
beginning,
okay.
Rex said it,
Yeah.
but that person
Yeah.
might not have been in the live when you said it.
Right. So I don't force the pronouns on anybody. I appreciate when I do go to the extent of putting all this effort into it appearing as feminine possible. Of course, yeah, sure. I would love to people refer to me as she, her, or that's it. But that's only because I'm dressing up. And of course, when I'm masculine, when all this stuff is off, I'm not expecting a she, her, or I'm not demanding it or trying to force people to accept me or respect me. I don't demand anything from anybody, respect or accept.
Yeah, and I respect all that, but I'm just making sure we understand what's going on. This is my wife.
Yeah, I mean, if I was
That's all. I'm
non-binary,
not.
it would probably work.
This is
But
a
no,
this because I'm looking at this and like it's reading wrong, and
yeah,
maybe I'm in error, but it's reading wrong to me.
No, I'm not reading it wrong. I'm reading it correctly, Bam, and I will address you. Nobody up here is disrespecting anybody. And if this is the kind of party you think this is, you are welcome to exclude yourself and find another channel. That's not
I
the
mean,
point.
I'm wondering if it's more from a state of curiosity because he just didn't know what it is. I'm
Well,
not sure if he
no. It's
implied offense.
it's
Rex,
reading
he's
No,
being an
wrong.
asshole.
Some of these do read wrong. So I saw some of them, and then I listen to y'all and I pay attention, but I also scan through. I
I'm
Because I
did
on
miss
came
my
quite
back
a
and I
few of
seen this
them.
and I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I
So I saw
don't.
like the 1 or 2s, and then it was like 6 or 7 of them in a row, and I'm like,
Okay, yeah, I see it now.
I stayed
So
away.
Okay.
backtracking with this. So now here's a secondary point because New York is kind of a funny conversation to bring up.
All right, we cool then. We good.
So I heard New York while I was busy and came back. And here's the thing. So New York people's support was the statement that was made. Well, that's not entirely true, Rex. So New York passed laws to support it. Then people said, F you, we're leaving. And now New York is trying to pass laws to tax people after they leave New York to claw back the cash.
correct.
Because their choices are financially unpopular with the vast majority of the population.
So did the vast majority of that population vote for those people in power, knowing full well what those policies were, knowing what these Democrats and these leftists were going to do?
Kind of yes, kind of no.
I was going to say kind of yes and no, because you got to think about it. When you put them in office, you know snippets of what they're trying to do.
Actually,
they don't give you the full story.
Before that, Erica. There's actually a step before that, Erica. So, do you know why Beetlejuice was the mayor for so long? Because the population that votes for her, the minority population, happened to be a majority of
in that area.
The majority of a specific group. So the Italians were voting for one person, the Mix were voting for another one, the Koreans did it. So because all the other groups, when they're separated, were voting for one of theirs, the Black community was the bigger community out of all of them. So Beetlejuice won by a default of a sense. If that kind of sort of makes sense. And this is why I always bring up the point that calling all white people white is a misnomer in and of itself. And again, that's why Beetlejuice was mayor so long and got what she was able to get passed was a direct result of New York being so splintered within its own communities. that each community wanted to usurp the power or gain power, but in doing so, weakened their overall power. An example we could get into, and I do not want to get into this, but an example is the DeSantis Trump issue, right? If they run together, will the Republicans not get in because the vote will be so split, right? So argumentatively, if we were smart, if you vote this way, if you were smart, it's let Trump have his next 4 years and then vote DeSantis in, and then we have Republican government for 12 years. But if Trump and DeSantis run together, now you're forcing this weird choice. And so you're going to split the Republican vote, and in doing so, almost guarantee the Democrats to win. The same concept holds true as to what's happened or happening in places like San Francisco or New York and stuff like that. I think I covered that all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much.
So it's this weird, it's this weird behind the scenes look that a lot of people don't stop and look at, right? Is when you look at the voting blocks, how do the voting blocks line up? So a minority can win specifically because they're the major minority.
I mean, that's the reason why New York is ruled by New York City. The city rules the state because, I mean, if you look at the board during the elections, the whole map, virtually all the map will be red. And then the vote for New York City comes in and lo and behold, Hochul won.
Yeah.
Because
and that's what I was going to say too. You have to look at it when you're looking at, let's say, upstate categorically is always going to be Republican.
And I'm a man of principle, bam. And you're coming at my wife, dog. I don't give a fuck about your money, bruh. Fuck your money. That's my wife. Would you like me coming at your wife like that? Deuces. Fuck out of here.
I'm missing something.
The back and forth in the chat.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't watch chat and do it now.
So everybody, I just wanted to say thank y'all for tonight. It's actually my birthday weekend, but Gary and I had plans, but this was way, way important. So we came out, and I'm glad that we did this tonight. This is to be expected. This kind of stuff is to be expected because not everybody likes the conversation, which is why we're happy.
Yeah.
So, Greg, it was nice to see you. Fetters, nice to see you. Mal, Erica, Wally, and June, great to see you guys. See you next time. And
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. All right.
Gary, you gotta do the.
I would sing, but my voice is not that great, so I'm just not going to. I can't do that.
Never got to do the video next time.
Yeah. We could do a part two. We could do a part two.
Yeah, this is a great conversation, and there's a lot of people. Listen, we expect this. My husband was like, "Well, I don't know." I'm like, you know what? Listen, this is important because people can judge and draw as many conclusions as they want to, but at the end of the day, it's better when you have a conversation, because then you can't just be assuming things. You know what I mean? So it was.
Let me ask this final question.
Happy birthday
to the panel. Let me ask this final question. Can we just set this up for a part two for next weekend then? To continue it next Saturday on next Saturday's live? Yes, no?
I'm not excusing myself. I'm not ending the chat. I'm just excusing myself.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought you was ending. Oh, okay. I thought you was ending the.
No, y'all do your thing.
Oh, okay. I thought we was ending the live.
Yeah.
My bad. Okay.
Oh, okay.
No, the live is not over. She's getting off.
Okay. Okay.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
All right, let's take a pause. Gary, you got to do it. You do it for chat. You got to do it for your wife live. Let's hear the happy
birthday
song.
Oh, happy. I'm not even in the mind frame about that, man. Like this, you know what I mean? Like that whole that right there that just happened. That I'm way over here now. You know what I'm saying? Like you got
his mindset not there no more.
Yeah, I'm not there right now. Like, yo, you know,
Nah,
it's
when it comes to
All
the
right.
wife,
So then,
bro,
so let me
everything's out the
ask this,
window.
because this stems back to what I was saying with this conversation and everything, because the trans and LGBTQ community is not going anywhere. So conversations like this, I believe, is what's needed to bridge the gap, so to speak. And having these conversations with like a Rex and everything like that, that brings better understanding, which should theoretically, for me, I believe, should bring more people hand in hand with the understanding to help make like fight to I guess fight for the laws and everything like that. Fight for the laws to get equal playing field, so that people don't feel like they're screwed, so to speak. Because if you go to Capitol Hill and it's just one side fighting for XYZ, they're going to be like, okay, I hear what you're saying, but what about this community? But if you have people from the trans community working with people from those that are not in the trans community, now you have something. You get what I'm saying? Now you have an argument, so to speak, because they can't say, well, you're leaving this community out of the process.
Right. See, that's where I definitely agree with that, because when it comes to my community, it seems like there's such this one big segment that's ruling over everybody else. And that's where someone like me will come in and say, you know, I agree that these sexualization of kids is wrong. And then we'll take the shooting in Nashville, where I would go into, I actually read an article where one of the senators from Tennessee is now supporting, or has come out with legislation to support a $900 million grant for the hardening of schools. Now, Biden apparently doesn't believe in the hardening of schools. Me, as a licensed armed security officer, a libertarian, and someone as the LGBT, I'm like, absolutely, let's put funding towards this, put money towards this, obviously consensual basis.
Yeah.
But then I'll even extrapolate it further than that and try to examine where we got this whole transgender genocide from, and why all this new stuff of transgender shouldn't have Second Amendment rights, which, if we could backtrack from transgender suicide, gender, transgender genocide, where did that originate from? I'd argue, if we go back, that was the media that took a spin on Michael Noll's CPAC speech of eradicate transgenderism, which, I mean, we could cause and effect with every action. There's an equal and opposing reaction. So Michael knows at CPAC with his eradicate transgenderism speech, and then the MSN media doing what they do also well, is taking things out of context and massively blowing up the water, put it in the minds of trans people that it's, oh, eradicate trans people and genocide. That's where we got all that from. It originated, in my opinion, being just making an observation. This whole trans genocide went back to the media, miscategorizing or mistaking. And I will absolutely, I don't like Michael Knowles for what he said, because apparently he wants to eradicate transgenderism at public level, in public life at every level. And he has floated the idea of legislating cross-dressing ban laws, which I alluded to in the chat, which I was stuck in the chat for. I would say that's very immoral to tell me, like, I'm going to go get arrested if I go outside dressed like this. Or I'm going to get the police on me, or get ticketed and fined, thrown in jail because I just want to go out like this. But then for the media to do what they did, now we have some transgender non-binary young kid with firearms that went and took it into their own hands because of some perceived genocide. And I mean, I know you're shaking your head a lot there, Gary, but it
no,
is
it's
what it
not about
is.
what you're saying. Got nothing to do with what you're saying.
What, the transgender genocide? That originated from, no one was saying that
No,
before
he said
Michael
he wasn't
Knowles'
shaking his head.
speech.
He's not shaking
He
his
said
head at you.
he's not
It's
shaking
something
his
else
head.
going on.
It's
Not
something
you.
else.
Oh,
I have
okay. Oh boy.
I have a question for you, Rex.
Mhm.
Because I know earlier you said, hey, the trans community that do think like you, and I understand like you don't speak for the trans community. This is your own point of views and everything like that. The question I have is, because I believe, as far as the community go, we should all be walking hand in hand, so to speak.
Mhm.
And the reason why I say this is because if the non-trans community can have a conversation with a Rex, bring that mutual understanding to the point that now we actually can, be in unison, so to speak. Would that make it easier for Rex or people that have the same mindset as you do, come out and speak against, the loud voices of the trans community? Because it's like, hey, if I speak out, at least I'm not what's the word I'm looking for? At least I'm not ostracized from the non-trans community and even my own community. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So at least like there's like a middle ground where it's like, okay, some in the trans community is against me, but at least I know those that's not in the trans community, they're walking with me because we have an understanding, so to speak, and they know, my mindset, and you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Like personally, I more so value the diversity of minds as opposed to the diversity of me walking into a room with a bunch of transgenders, but then the second I open my mouth, they're all going to want to jack me up and toss me out of the room. As opposed if I walk into a room more like this, where there's agreeable minds and we're kind of rational, it doesn't matter what I look like. It doesn't matter if I'm trans. Me just being against the sexualization of children. I don't want the stuff in schools. It's an agreement on a different level. It's not quote unquote skin deep or superficial as the diversity, as the left or the leftists love diversity, but what diversity do they really have if I'm just going to get excommunicated from my community just for saying trans women ain't women? Why would I want to even be around those people if they're going to commit an act of violence against me or cost me my job or cost me my livelihood? Why would I even want to be friends with those people? Because they're fake. I don't have time for fake people in my life.
So I'm going to throw something into the ring because me and Gary had obviously conversations before. I don't shy away from conversations. I don't think anybody I've got a fat mouth. I have my opinion. I ain't got no problem on sharing it. You like it, hate it, agree with it, disagree with it. It is what it is. When Gary first talked about bringing Rex into the panel, I said, no thanks. And not because I don't like Rex. Rex knows I'll have 1,000 conversations with Rex. Doesn't matter. But here's the thing. Rex has nothing to say from my perspective in this sense. Everything I find wrong with the alphabet community, Rex agrees with me on. So, sexualization of kids. In this panel, who in this panel agrees with the sexualization of children?
Say that again?
Who
Say that again. Say that again.
Who in this panel is for the sexualization of minors?
Oh, not at all.
Okay. Who in here is for paying for transitioning through taxation?
Not me.
Who is here for any of the things that the alphabet mafia is supposedly fighting for? Name me one thing that the alphabet mafia community has brought to the forefront that you would vote yes for.
Anything that I would vote for, they already have, which is equal rights and stuff like that.
So, no offense, we're done talking about this. These loud minorities want what they want. I'm not going to put up with it. There's nothing left to talk about. There's nothing left to hand in hand. If I have it my way, Rex, can I steal you back on camera for a second? Because this one I'm going to kind of sort of direct at you. If I have it my way, Rex doesn't have to speak out, do you?
No, I disagree. Of course I do.
What would you have to speak out on?
Because it's still coming from someone of my community, and just in my opinion, it holds more weight because I am someone of the LGBT. I am bisexual. I am transitioning. So it holds more weight, and I do have a lived experience that you don't.
But you're talking about a minority supporting a majority about a minority. So you're more weight when it comes to legislation and laws? ultimately irrelevant.
But see, my people or the people of my community will take in consideration what I have to say before they take into consideration what you have to say. It's the same as I walk in here, conservatives, yeah, or the straight people, the non-LGBT, they'll hear me out. But as long as I'm saying something that is agreeable, then I think it holds more weight for that community as well. I think it plays into both
I get what you're
communities.
saying. I get what you're
I'm
saying.
not
Yeah.
explaining it very well at all.
Wait,
I get what you're saying.
Mal, I'm sorry. I know I keep disagreeing with you, and I love you, brother. But I have to say, being from the black community, I can't agree with you. You saying like they got what they got, so they should just be quiet. I don't agree with that.
Well,
Because
no. I'm not saying they need to be quiet. What I'm saying is that the things that everybody wants to re-talk about and rehash
Okay.
are cyclical conversation.
Well, so let me ask you a question. Your opinion of Michael No's CPAC speech, do you see an issue with it? Like when his
Yes.
whole saying, because that's where I found like conservatives, I could
But I'm
understand
not
if it flipped it
conservative.
on its head. Well, I like to do a hypothetical sometimes because if the trans community had a TPAC, so to speak, or a trans political action conference, and a trans person got up on stage and said, eradicate conservatism in public life at every level, how would conservatives feel about that? I think they would pretty much perceive that as a threat. I mean, tell me I'm wrong.
Well, we already hear that.
Yeah, not blatantly out on a stage
Not
with
blatantly.
a lot of people applauding it.
Well, we do hear it, and we do hear it from that community as a whole.
Yeah, but there's literally no TPAC.
Even though there's no Twitter is basically Alphabet Mafia CPAC.
It's Twitter. That's
But
how.
it's
What percentage of the
basically
population is
Alphabet
Twitter?
Mafia CPAC, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
What percentage of the population is Twitter? Like Michael No said it live on national television.
Yeah, but you have to think
Or who
about
was
though,
watching it?
I was about to say that too. How many people really watch it? I don't know
I
the
mean,
conversation you're
I guess
talking about because
Nah,
guess
but
what?
conservatives.
that's
I'm
different. That's Twitter. We're talking about something that's nationally broadcast on television.
correct,
Twitter
but
is Twitter. That's
Right.
but think about it. I find more stuff on Twitter than I would on national television because
Granted.
I don't watch
I mean-
television the way that other people watch
I
television.
mean, this is Michael Knows though. He's part of the Daily Wire.
See,
The man
but
literally
this
has
is the thing,
millions
though.
of followers.
I
That's-
get that, but I have no clue who you're talking about. So that's the other
I
thing.
don't know the
I don't
person.
know who Michael Knowles is. So
He's
I'm
He's like a
listening to you
Matt
guys.
Walsh.
Correct. But like I said, I'm not a TV watcher. I don't watch the news like that. The only thing that I really look is the weather.
But
That's
Erica,
about it.
Oh,
let me
okay.
And I
ask
know
you,
everybody's not me, but that's what I'm saying.
Erica.
For me, I'm lost.
but let me ask you, which would be bigger though? Some like if let's say somebody went on national television and said something outlandish, or they went on Twitter and said, which one do you
Twitter.
think? You
I
think
would find it more on
I mean,
Twitter. That's
it
the
was all
problem
over.
because
Twitter will probably-
well,
It is
not
on-
really
it
because I'm
is
not
on
on Twitter
Twitter,
either.
though.
But what I was gonna say is, if something is tweeted enough, it'll go to other platforms.
Oh yeah.
The
It'll
problem
make it
is
to
with
the
national
news.
television. If you're not a national television watcher, you're not somebody that reads the newspaper, you're not really going to know what's going on.
Rex,
I'm
who
neither.
brought the Michael Knows thing to my attention?
I believe it was me, wasn't it?
Exactly.
But it still goes to show. I mean, it was started
Yeah,
off.
it-
YouTube streamed it live. Instagram streamed it live. It was all streamed live. So
Granted,
yeah, I would
but
argue.
how
Yeah,
many of us
news
are
gets its
watching it?
news from social media now.
How many people are watching it? What made it actually blow up? What made what Michael Knowles said blow up? He said what he said,
Right.
and then a bunch of activists on Twitter found it, popped it on Twitter, and then propagated to Facebook, and from Twitter and Facebook, it propagated to YouTube and to the Discords and to Reddit.
I
Yeah,
think
but
where
the
it really
people
screwed
that
up,
really
Rolling.
matter- The people that really matter, they're using the news. They're not just going on Twitter and getting information like we are. The people that are sitting in those town hall meetings, they're watching these national broadcasts. So it is important that he went on there and said that. Y'all making Twitter seem as if it's something really, yes, it's impactful because it could reach almost anyone. What I'm trying to say is someone allowed him, I don't know. I think that's bigger. National television. You can't even curse on some channels.
I mean,
but on Twitter, you could say you could cuss. They have sexual things. They have craziness.
Correct, but think about it though. How many people like you have to be a different type of person to sit and watch the news every single day? You have to think about the generation now. The generation now is not sitting and watching the news like the generation of 10 years ago or like the generation of 30 years ago, where that's all you had because it was the news, then the TV broadcast shut off after 10 o'clock. So you have to think of that too. Like I said, yes, I'm not the average person that watches the news, but like I said, you have a whole generation who are not watching those shows until, and they're not going to hear that information until somebody takes that clip and put it up.
News travels faster on the internet and social media than it does on the news in today's time. As sad as it is.
Yes, but we're saying agenda-wise to allow it on television. I'm just saying that's completely different. I hear what y'all saying. The people voting in the lower levels, I'm not talking about the people that just want to talk and be loud. Those people are watching the news. That's where there's significant things you're really hearing. You're not just hearing the complaints, the extremes on both ends. That's more, I don't know, that's trust me, Twitter's not as big as y'all saying for the people who are doing their homework. Twitter is a bunch of misinformation.
That I will agree with.
I will agree with you on that.
The people who are doing their homework, Twitter and all that is
correct.
Yeah,
what is the percentage of people doing their homework?
Not that many, though. That's the problem too. I don't see where people are doing their homework to the extreme like they were. Because think about it. If you're somebody that's working 8 to 12 hours a day, when you get in, you're not trying to hear what's harsh going on. You trying to shut everything off so you can go to bed and start your day again.
But Erica P, who do you think are the people that will work their way up to being in office or getting these government type jobs? Those are the people that are doing their homework.
Correct, but it's not the mass majority. It's the minority that goes into that field. It's the people that went to college and studied politics going into that field. It's the people that are in those neighborhoods who see that the people there aren't doing anything different, and then they're the ones that are learning how to get into that system. It's not that many people doing that, though. Because if it was that many people doing it, guess what? You wouldn't have the same people running year after year after year. You would have some kind of change. They would try to find out how they're going to get some kind of backing, because you don't get those seats without you having some kind of financial backing to support those seats.
What happened to Gary?
I don't know.
He's probably talking with Boya.
I was gonna ask Feta, what's your perspective on things, man?
Good question.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, there is the questions. What questions are flowing through your mind? Rip it off the top of your brain.
Yeah.
Well, I don't really have any questions. I'm just kind of listening and thinking. I didn't know about the syntax, so that was interesting to learn about. And I appreciate you letting me know about that, bro. But I mean, I agree. I definitely don't think that we should be paying for people to transition. I don't think we should be paying for people to be on their deathbed because of the bad choices they made. I think Rex knows how I feel, but I still have a lot of respect and love for Rex. But I have, a quote that holds dear to my heart, and it's any teaching or religion that defies the natural laws of nature is false. And I do believe there's only a man and a woman created, and we were put on this earth to procreate. And that's just the way I feel. But I respect Rex's decision to transition and to find his happiness. I'm a constitutionalist, man. I love the Constitution, and that's what I'm about, man. I think that everybody should have the right to do what they choose, and once that right crosses upon mine or tramples on mine, then we have a problem. Until then, we don't. I'm not a conservative. I'm actually an Austrian Odinist. I believe in the ways of my ancestors. So I'm
What exactly is that?
Yeah,
Because
repeat
that's
that
the
one.
first
I was
time I
gonna say,
heard.
I don't know what that is. You got
Like,
to
what is
inform
that?
me.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Don't look at me like that, Gary.
Yo,
Leave it to the white boys being the only one who knows what the hell Fetters is talking about.
Yeah. It's a pagan religion. It
Okay.
stems from my Viking ancestors and
Oh, okay.
Wait,
Northern
did you
Europe, and predates Christianity and the Bible. Let's just say that. And
did you
and
say
it's
Norse pagan?
Yes.
Oh, I got a coworker that's Norse pagan.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I mean, but I respect everybody's right to believe what they choose to believe. And it's
Mhm.
like, I would never put anybody down for what they choose to believe. And I base everything off of respect. I don't care what color you are. I base it off of,
Facts.
and
Thank
you're
you
looking.
for saying that, Fetters.
Facts. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
It's
was an
all
excellent.
about
Yep.
respect.
Mm-hmm.
And I
And
also
I think,
go ahead, Gary. Go
yo,
ahead.
yeah, I think do me a favor. Say something in chat so I can mod you.
Yeah, I just didn't like somebody's question in there. If you look hard enough, you'll find it.
No, I
See,
saw it.
that's
I saw it. But that's not my place to, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Wait a second. Is Erica P a man? No, I'm not a man. I'm a
Yeah,
woman.
no, she's not a man. Very rude fucking
So
question.
full vajayjay.
Full woman. Birth 3 kids out of this woman. Yes.
Real woman.
I do understand Rex's opinion and stance on wanting to keep continuing to speak. I don't know if you meant just on this podcast or in general, but like I'm somebody that spent 13 years in prison, and I have another channel I'm currently locked out of, but it was based on my experiences in prison. And I know what Rex means by somebody will listen to me opposed to somebody if they're going down that path, as opposed to somebody that hasn't lived that life and experienced that.
Right.
And that's one thing I really respect about you, Rex. And I think that I like what you're doing, and I want to see more of it, is talking about how you feel in your belief system. And that way other people that are gay, come from the gay community, whatever, realize that they don't have to just follow, and so, that's one thing that, I applaud you on that. I think you should have your voice heard.
Yeah, thank you, Fetters. I appreciate you saying that. Because
Hey,
I mean,
sorry to
Go
cut
ahead.
you off, but I want to defend myself a little bit because I think I'm being misconstrued. It is not that I don't think Rex should.
No, you're not. You're not being misconstrued at all. We know exactly.
Nah,
I know what you mean.
Mal's problem is with the laws.
Yes.
I know what he meant.
That's his issues. The
Well,
Yes.
laws.
no, exactly. But
Well,
the
no,
other
it's
half
not only that. It's more to it than that. But
it's not that I don't want Rex to speak. It's not that I don't want to hear and talk to Rex about these things. It's not that I don't think that there's a ton of different panels where I think Rex's input would be invaluable for conceptually speaking. What I'm talking about is the concept that we were talking about tonight. I don't care on Rex's opinion in this case, because Rex's opinion will have zero impact on me when it comes to allowing under 18 to cut off body parts, when it comes to spending money on medical things. So all these things, all these rules and all these laws that are in place that I want to abolish, abolish regardless of that community. We are at odds. So if Rex agrees with me, cool. But Rex having input on it is irrelevant in this conversation. Now,
why is that?
I just said. Now, I'll give an example of where the opposite is true. Let's say we get back to the focus of this and start talking about things that we need to consider when it comes to mental health. Rex's situation is invaluable to the conversation because I can have all my opinions of what I want. Cutting off a wiener is not the same as Rex helping me understand the mentality of somebody wanting to go through transition. These are two separate conversations, two different topics. No matter what anybody else does or says, I'm not okay with cutting off a wiener under 18. But I do want to know how to help people like Rex when it comes to what things should we be offering when it comes to psychiatric evaluations or whatever it may be. So for me, there is a very black and white line. And that was the only kind of point-ish I was trying to make.
So
That's a
yeah,
23-minute video.
no, it's only going to be 1 minute and 20 seconds worth of context, because that video is specifically talking about a whole bunch of stuff geared to success. But this video is what actually sparked my curiosity with the term or the idea of consciousness.
There's been
You
people
got
who
audio?
attend seminars, especially
Yes.
self-development.
Is that audio?
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
we can hear it.
I think it'll run maybe 1 minute, a minute and 30 seconds into it, and you'll start hearing him go into the
Seminars to
whole.
look for the answer. They want to know, what is it out there I can learn so that I can be more successful? That wasn't your motivation?
No, oddly enough. And I think probably you're right. I think that's what most people are looking for. I think they're looking for an answer outside of themselves, and they're never going to find it. I think by this time I realized it was something in me. I met a man here in Toronto. He was one that originally got me involved in studying this, Ray Stanford. And he told me if I didn't like the results I was getting in my life, that I was going to have to change me because they were my results. And he said, if you're going to change you, you're going to have to find out something about yourself. And that seemed to make sense. I don't think it was an earth-shattering idea. It wouldn't give anybody a brain hernia, but it made a hell of a lot of sense to me. So I started to study myself. I found most people don't know who they are. They really don't.
What do you mean? I mean, I know my name, I know my age, I know where I live.
That's not
what
you,
else
though.
is there?
You know, that's
what
just
size,
it. If you ask the average person who they are, they'll give you their name. They'll say, I'm Bob Proctor, but I'm not. Bob and Proctor are two words. My parents give them to me. They're called names, but it's not me. It's my name. Then somebody will say, well, this is me, but this isn't me either. It's my body. Like, you never phone down here to the studio and say, body won't be in today. It's sick.
Okay.
You know, we don't say am hand or am leg. It's my hand, my leg, my body, my name. Who am I? Well, that's an interesting question. And I believe if a person will start to study that and look for the answer, they'll find it. See, I think we live simultaneously on three planes of understanding. We're spiritual creatures, we have an intellect, and we live in physical bodies.
Okay.
But because we lack awareness or understanding of who we are, we're totally locked into a physical world, and we let things outside of us control us. 95% of the population are reacting to life. They're not really living at all.
Okay. When we
That was it.
That makes sense, though.
Yeah.
Blew my mind out of the water. Like, it kind
I
of.
don't even like you anymore, Rex.
Because now you got me questioning me. Do I know who I am?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Do I know me? 'Cause I thought I was
Exactly.
Gary Lamb until that.
So
I
I'm
was
gonna have
I was
fun-
alone when I was dealing with that.
I'm gonna
No,
have
but
fun with it.
I totally get I get what he's saying.
But do you?
And oh, absolutely. My wife and I, we literally just had this conversation yesterday. Do I know who
I
the
know
hell I
what
am?
Rex. Sorry, I was just gonna say I know what Rex, with a smile on his face, thinks he got from that.
Yeah.
But in doing so, he ignored what me and Gary said. In your liberation as you're conceiving it, you think by hearing him and what he said, oh, so by changing my body, blah, 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 I'm doing exactly what he's talking about. Gary, you're acting, hold on, Gary, you're acting all amazed. But I want you to actually hear what that dude just said. And let me ask you, almost every offline conversation that you and I have, what do I say? Is it almost verbatim what that dude just said?
Exactly. This is why I'm being I'm not doing this against
No, I know.
you.
So,
I'm doing it against Rex
So
because
my-
he literally you literally that clip literally explained exactly what I was saying.
And yet, Rex won't see or hear it the same way that you do.
He will not.
I'm still
I saw
questioning
it,
it.
huh?
I'm still questioning it. This is
But
just
that's my
one little
point.
sliver of my being.
But that's my point. You're still questioning. Remember when we had the conversation last live, and I said if a person want to pretend to be a cat, let them be a cat. And if they want to be an acrobat, and that's what they want to call it, that's what they want to call it. It's still cat-like behavior, jumping all over the place, grabbing poles and stretching and shit.
Okay.
I said that on purpose. What I'm saying is you can be whoever the hell you want to be. I identify as Gary Lamb with my social security number so people can track my record. They can track me and see my track record, and they'll feel more comfortable with me based on that. But am I really Gary Lamb? No. I'm a dude that like to play with clay. I like to create. I like to paint. I like to drive a car really, really fast because I want to pretend that I actually have control over speed.
Me too.
It's who I am as opposed to what I am in the world. Completely different. In the world, I am Gary Lamb. You know, I get things done. I'm the middleman and the jack of all trades. But that's because I have to be that to make money in this world. I can give a crap about money. Money's never done anything for me that was important. My kids are important to me. My wife is important to me. What the heck does money do for me other than allow me to pay for stuff?
I think I've got a better analogy, Gary. So here's the thing. Let's say something happens and I get rushed to the hospital right now. The doctor comes in and says, "Okay, Randy, I got to use a needle on you." I'm going to look at the doctor and say, "You better call Gary, June, and Wally. June's got my legs, Gary's got my right side, and Wally's got my left side. Because the minute that doctor tries to jab me with that syringe, I'm going to try to rip his throat out." So the question is, why do I have such a visceral reaction to getting syringes? Well, when I self-analyze and I look through, it's like, okay, well, I got hit by a semi and had to get major surgery done on my collarbone. Yeah, they had to give me 30 some odd needles. Yeah, that probably was a problem. And the multiple surgeries on my knee from putting it into a tree, that probably precipitated my. So I progressively go through my life. And what it comes down to is when I was 6, I was climbing a tree. And I understood the concept of thin branch and thick branch. The concept I didn't understand at that age was live branch versus dead branch. And I climbed up this tree, climbed onto that branch. That branch broke, did a 180, and ripped open my bicep underneath the skin. And I landed on the ground like a rock, staring into my own arm ripped open, watching my own muscle pulsate. And then was rushed off and had to get all this surgery. But it wasn't the surgery that causes my fear of needles. It's that was the moment at 6 years old, lying on that ground, not able to breathe, staring into my own body and seeing how it works. I realized that I was mortal. So my fear of needles, if I walk it all the way back to the beginning, is a result of realizing my mortality. So the point in the argument is this: the things you're doing and why, from a perspective, the argument is you still don't know what the beginning is, but you're racing towards an end.
I don't know what the beginning is.
Is that
You
true?
haven't figured out what your actual emptinesses are. You haven't figured out what those black holes in you are.
But this is literally filling those black holes that I'm completely self-aware of. This is currently filling those holes.
Outside forces that interact with you, hear your words, but see something different.
Well, I mean, it's putting myself out there a little bit, but I've been in therapy for about like 4 or 5 years. And I see the comments and yeah, I've gone through the whole gymnastics of trying to stop this. I've tried to figure something else out. As it goes back to what I was saying, it's like transitioning medically is the last resort to fixing this issue. It should never be the first response, as it is with kids. All of a sudden, a little boy wants to put on a dress and he's trans. No, it's bullshit. It's BS.
And
Okay,
I'm not saying that you've jumped the gun on it. Okay.
right.
But
So
what I am saying though is that speaking exclusively for myself in my communications with you,
okay.
and seeing some of the behaviors and the chats and stuff like that. And by behaviors, I mean verbal mannerisms and what you talk about or don't talk about in that.
Mhm.
In what I've witnessed, sitting on the outside on the window ledge, looking in, makes me question the validity of your statement.
See, but of course you're going to question that, and I'll go right along with your analogy because you are looking out from the in. Like I said, so many rooms, there's so many winding staircases, there's so many. That whole basement is full of a whole lot of skeletons and stuff that I don't think you really want to care to know about. So it's like you have half of the picture, half of the equation, maybe even a quarter of that.
And yet you keep using common terms that are warning signs that you're full of it.
Like what warning terms?
I don't want to say. It's the things that I've noticed and the mannerisms that I've noticed. I would prefer to talk one-on-one. This is not something I would be comfortable sharing.
You shouldn't have brought it up though, because now we're watching him. I'm looking and listening for certain things now. So
but that's good. But that's good. That's what I want you to do.
Okay.
Is to focus on words, mannerisms. Why do men peacock? If a bunch of guys walk into a room, what happens? Chest out, back straight, and you get that pose. That is an involuntary mannerism.
It's having good posture.
Emphasis on the
No,
word.
it's not. It's not.
I'm putting my back straight because I'm trying to have a good posture.
That has nothing to do with
What?
posture. That is literally a Russian
So here-
pose. That it's definitely a no. That's
Well, you're
But that's the
perceiving
alpha
something
male thing, though. That's
totally
alpha
different.
male.
I guess my question is, isn't that could we just chuck it up to?
You know what
That's
that
just
does for
like
me
your
when I
natural
straighten
root.
my back? What that does? Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead, Wally.
Nah, I was gonna say, can that not just be like a natural reflex, so to speak, but it still doesn't change his
You know what? I know
thought
what he's
process,
talking
so
about.
to speak?
I know
Well,
what he's
no,
talking
no, no,
about,
no,
and you know what I do when I
You guys
do
are
this.
conflating two things.
Hold on,
on,
let me
Russ.
explain it to you. What you perceive as peacocking or me like being aggressive and doing
You're
this, what I'm
conflating
doing
two
is I'm
comments.
trying to hide my shoulders.
No, you're
Because I have
conflating two comments. You guys are all of you are conflating two comments. So let me clarify. There is what I talked about with Rex. End of statement. New statement. You grab 5 guys and have them all enter in, or 4 guys, and each one enters through a door into a room. What happens? What do men do? They peacock.
That's alpha men. I can't agree with you. I don't do that. I'm a Sigma. I don't feel threatened by another man. So I don't feel I have to now I gotta sit there and be
I don't give a damn. Like I can care less what you feel. Like the whole like I gotta look at you and stare at you. I ain't playing that
It's
garbage.
not even
For Will, why? Are you gonna do anything? No, then leave. Why? I don't got no problem.
But I'm laughing at y'all because so yes, I'm the only person that don't know what you're talking about. I'm not walking in the room sizing people up. That's just not something.
Wait
that
a
I'm
minute,
gonna
hold
go
on.
do.
As a female, you size other women up. You just do it completely different than men.
Yep.
Okay, so
you have your own type of peacocking. Oh, she thinks she's cute. Nope. Her toenail polish is
or if she's wearing a nice outfit or something, well, I wouldn't have worn them shoes.
See, but that's the thing.
Oh, that pocketbook don't go with that outfit. Like that's how
you
y'all
gotta
do
be
it.
a special type of person to do that. Because I'm
No,
not just
that's
going
not
out there
true.
doing that.
That's
Though.
definitely not true. It's human nature to do that.
But my thing is that takes time and energy. If you're somebody who don't have the time or the energy, you're not doing that.
for guys,
You're
we
going to
don't
tell me, Erica,
cocking as
you
time and
never
energy.
sized another woman up.
Wally.
And if
She
you
has.
say that, I
She
don't
has.
believe you.
Okay, can
She
I get
has.
Gary, hold on. I know. Just give me 30 seconds, Rex, because I want to put Wally. I love you, and I'm really, really sorry about this. Okay.
Uh-oh.
I will take.
I don't want to be part of this at all.
responsibility for any of the heat back. Wally, does or does not Erica do it? When you're out with her, does
She done it. She done it. She done it a couple of times. She doesn't do it often. It's like very
Correct.
rare that she do it, but there's been once or twice that she,
once or twice.
but it's not something she do on a regular, but she has done it.
Like I said, that's not my MO.
Hold
I'm
on.
not generally not that person.
Now that I brought it up, Wally,
You sound like a racist.
now that I brought it up, Wally, here's what I want you to do. I want you to remember this question because I'm going to ask you that same question, next Saturday.
All right.
And he's gonna remember, and I'm not. I'm gonna be the one thrown under the bus because I ain't gonna remember.
Exactly, and that's a good thing because now Wally's going to be hyper aware of that question. There are things that you do, Erica, every day that Wally picks up on and just doesn't realize it. We'll call them Erica-isms, just like there's Wally-isms and June-isms and me-isms, right? There are things that we do every fucking day that we don't realize. They're subconscious. They're part of our who and what we are. So, sorry, Rex, you're around.
Yeah, so I would disagree with what you perceive to be my reason for doing this, right? Or straightening my back. What you are,
what I was talking about.
What you're saying, like peacocking, that I'm like
Rex.
getting posture or putting my straight back. Is that what you
Rex.
were
No, that has
alluding
nothing
to?
to do with what I was
Rex.
talking about.
So what is the
Rex.
peacocking thing referencing?
Rex.
Yeah.
Just a general concept.
Rex.
What?
What do you drive?
Pickup truck?
What color is it?
A beautiful rust, like bronze.
And what
color.
do you do for a living?
Security officer?
Serve and protect.
Do you need a pickup truck with that color?
What does color
It's
have to
non-functional for you.
At what point will it
Why
not be
did
functional
you
though?
buy a pickup truck in New York City?
Do you think it's not what I'm doing now, but what I will
I'm
be
going
doing?
to ask you the question, and I need you to answer the question, sir.
Yeah.
Ma'am, whatever the hell you want to call yourself tonight.
Ma'am.
Why did you buy a
It's
pickup truck with a copper damn color and put skirts on it?
That's
Skirts. I didn't put
peacocking.
no skirts on it.
Thank
That's
you.
peacocking.
You are peacocking, sir.
Let's wind this and go
Okay.
with the story first. Okay, so
That's
wait. I gotta
peacocking.
defend
You
myself
have
on this.
no function
Hold
for
up,
that truck.
hold up.
None
I
whatsoever.
have a lot of functions, a whole lot of functions.
What?
So,
What function
number one,
does a pickup?
number
Why
one-
do people buy pickup trucks?
Number
Rex?
one, number.
Why do
can I
pickup?
talk?
You live in New York. Why do people buy pickup trucks?
Because I'm going to move eventually, and on top of that,
Eventually, so you spent $30,000
But you bought the
for
car
eventually?
first, though. See, I'm a thought. Look,
I didn't even like the color when we first saw it. My dad and I were in the parking lot. It was used.
Drop all my
I didn't even
peanuts.
like the color.
See,
the
this is
color
books.
grew
I
on me.
dropped my peanuts. Shut up.
See, I'm gonna have to throw myself under the bus. Remember when I said I don't peacock? I changed my mind now. I changed my mind because I'm gonna tell you the first car that I picked out was that I bought for myself was a red Honda Accord coupe. As anybody, when I started everybody thought my favorite color was red because I was driving that car. Because what did I start doing? I started buying. I had the red leather jacket. Thought I was cute. I bought the red driving gloves. So I just thought about it.
Erica?
I was
Would you call
peacocking
that
back.
female
Okay.
peacocking?
But I didn't know that's what it was. I didn't know that's what it was called back then.
Wait, peacock.
I didn't know.
Going
All
out.
you doing
Why
is
did you
stunting.
buy a
You
Mustang,
stunting.
Gary?
Ready?
Penis envy.
You ready? Because it was my dream. Because my dream car is a freaking 1967 Shelby Mustang GT500, and I can't afford
it's
that.
because we wanted a big strong.
And I'm gonna laugh at you because guess what? Being in Jersey, if the Mustang had better tires, I would have had the Mustang first because I've always been into sports cars.
The first car that I bought was a Buick. It was 1984. It had 300,000 million miles on it, and it would get me to point A to point B.
That's that point A to point B car right there.
But the second car I bought was a Lincoln Continental. It was ruby. It was emerald green. It had the white the back, the top. It was beautiful. Oh, it had the cream interior. Oh, it was smooth ride. It was smooth. And I got that car for what? PUSSY. I'm being 100.
I'm going to give you an example. So everybody likes to refer to me as a biker. Yes, because of how I look and so on and so forth. Rex, look at me. Look straight into the camera and look at me. Now picture me on a crotch rocket. Exactly.
I can see you doing that though. That's not it.
He's
Right, that's reverse
he's on a
peacocking.
bobber.
That's the equivalent of me saying I don't really care. I care less, but it still look at me.
I would be at the end of the rope before you would get me on a crotch rocket looking like a monkey humping a football.
This should be hilarious. But see, but it's the same way. People get a black on black pickup truck. They consider that peacocking too, and it's just black on black.
So my daughter, to get to work, we didn't have time for her to get her license. And we got her an electric scooter. We had a choice between red or powder blue. If I would have given her the money to buy the scooter with no input, what color would have come home?
Wait, sorry about to say that again.
So the exact same scooter, one's red, one's powder blue. I walked into the store because it was my money and bought it. What color was
powder
it
blue?
when it came home?
You bought powder blue.
No, you bought red.
Thank you. Now, had my daughter gone into the store, June, what color would she have come home with?
Probably blue.
Maybe the powder blue.
Right. There are micro things about a person, thousands of them. Word usage, verbiage, emphasis. There's 1,000 little things. Who you are, how you carry yourself, how you speak, what you speak about. That reflect different things about yourself.
Well, color also invokes emotion towards the individual. It's whatever that color is. Like red is like the color of passion, the color of love. Anger, very noticeable as well. Very loud.
Okay, but let's take my analogy a step further for you. Let's say there was also a black and a camo version of that same scooter. So we have a black, a camo, a red, and a powder blue. What would I have come home with?
Probably a camo.
Right.
I didn't know problem camo.
And those same four choices, what would my daughter have come home with?
Either blue or red. Hands down. It's gonna be the brighter of the two colors.
What was the first question my daughter asked when I came home and showed her what color I brought
Why
home?
you ain't get this one?
And what was her second question? When I pay it off, can I paint it bubble?
Yeah, paint it. Yep. Because you have to think about it. Those are people don't pay attention to it. And to be honest, like I said, I didn't even realize that's what I was doing. But it happened.
Yeah, you did. But see, here's the thing: we are so good at trying to justify what we're really doing it, but we knew. Like I knew why I bought that freaking Lincoln Continental. I knew
didn't
exactly
know.
why I did it. I thought deep down inside it will get me PUSSY.
See, but that's not.
It did, but I'm not going to sit here and play this game. It didn't.
But that was your reason.
Correct. And like, think about it. That was your reason. When I went looking for a car, I'm not even going to lie. I'm so indecisive. I went to every car dealership that was in the area. Why? Because I had to look at it, touch it, feel it, see how I fit in. Because
I went straight down the street and bought the first thing I saw.
But I was working at a bank at 19. I had the funds to go buy brand new off the lot 6 miles. I bought what I wanted, but it took me months to decide what I wanted. And then when I decided what I wanted, which was not my car initially, I felt like everybody around me had that car. And guess what? I've always been the person who didn't want what everybody else had.
Dude,
I was the
hold
only
on,
one
hold
with
on,
that
Gary.
damn Continental.
Here's
Nobody
the
had
thing.
that car.
Here's the thing. I want to go through panel with a fun question. Unlimited funds, Gary. You're going out to buy a car. What are you buying?
Unlimited funds.
Unlimited funds.
I'm buying my Shelby.
Fetter. Unlimited funds. You're going out to buy a car. What do you get?
Truck.
What kind of truck?
Ford F-150 Raptor.
Lift kit?
The Raptor?
Nah, no lift kit. But I mean, it would be
Louis?
lifted a little bit, but it wouldn't be low or nothing. Raptor.
Okay. June. Unlimited funds. What car are you going out to get?
I would probably Google whatever car is the safest and looks the best out of that list. That's what I
You bullshit lying ass motherfucker. Bye.
You put him on timeout.
You
He
lying.
had to go. He had to go to timeout. Okay.
No, let me say this. When my wife leave the house, I literally sit there and pray a million times because I do have a little anxiety that something may happen to her.
Okay,
I
let
don't
me
trust
rephrase
car
the question
accidents
for
at
June.
all. So I'm
June.
being real.
Unlimited funds. Your car just for you. What are you buying?
Who, me still? I'm saying
Yeah.
if a
I
Range
don't
Rover
think
is
that.
safe,
I don't
it's
think the
like a
question's
Range
going. I don't think his answer's
Oh,
going to
Range
change.
Rover.
It's just for you. Nobody else is allowed to drive it. It's your car.
Mine? Okay, let me see. Probably, I'd probably get a Range, to be honest.
Range
Okay.
Rover.
A Range Rover?
Yeah. I know
I
the
don't
gas
care.
would be
I
high,
don't
but
care.
that's what I like. I like that.
I'm proving a point. Wally. Unlimited funds. What you buying?
I'm getting me a all black Jeep Wrangler monster.
Dude, he like he
With
he,
the stacks. With the
he
stacks.
was
So
not
that
hand
big,
and
this is car.
everything. He
that big
know
boy
exactly
monster
what he
truck.
wants.
Rex. Unlimited funds. What you buying?
I'm so surprised no one said it, but stick shift ZR1 Corvette.
See, you can have that because I got to one up you. And the
Every
problem is, your
No,
car.
no, Erica. This is why I'm about to pick on you.
Yeah.
You see how fast us boys can answer this question.
Yeah.
We don't have to think about it. We didn't have to. No.
Yeah.
We didn't have to
Yeah.
find that dress that fit just right.
Yeah.
We know what we want.
Not me.
Except for June.
Would
But
be
now the crazy thing is, if you ask me that
No,
question,
but hold on. You
I-
wait.
you
June,
didn't ask me the
know
question, and I know
exactly-
what I want though.
No, I did, but I like when I get on my wife, like you got to do the research. I would do research, but I would find exactly what I want.
But
'Cause if
that,
it's-
but listen to this.
Uh-huh.
You know exactly what you want with unlimited funds. We all
Correct.
do.
Yeah, of course.
Unlimited funds.
Erica will still sit there and
No.
research the entire thing.
Mm-mm. That's the one thing that I don't have to research. You want to know why? Ever
already
since I
done
was ever since I was a kid, I've always liked Lamborghini Diablos. So that's the only thing that I knew what
Erica,
the answer would have been.
Do you think that answer doesn't speak volumes in and of itself?
Yes, because I just realized I'm really a flashy person, and I didn't realize I was a flashy
You're
person.
very flashy, and we all are in our own
But I
way.
can take. Hold on, because I can have fun with this analogy, and I can take it to a second step. So I said unlimited funds. I bet you everybody on this panel would know what they want, even if they had to buy a poor man's car,
Oh, Burning Metal. Yeah.
Okay.
right?
Had
Already
to
got
have
my
the color.
poor man's car.
We might hit one or two places, but before we've even left the house, we know whether we want a quarter ton, a full half ton, or a full bed. We know whether we want a truck or a car. We know whether we want a two-door. We already know what we want, because what do we want when we get those wheels, especially when we're young, when we're first starting out and getting a car? Do we want the car? No. What do we want?
You want the person to
P-U-S-S-Y.
Yes. See, but you have to think about it, because I have that already. My choices were already made for me. Think about it.
Doesn't matter if I'm married.
No. I said my choices were made for me because I already got that. My choices were made for me.
Went right over his head.
So when
Way
it
over
started
his head.
out car-wise, guess what? That first car, 17, 18, was a hand-me-down. My hand-me-down was borderline a new car. Why? Because my parents said I needed a reliable car to get from point A to point B, and there it went. So I
That's not what
started
I'm
out.
talking about, Erica. What I'm talking about, again, is when we were all 17, 18 years old and went to go get our first car.
We thought about women first.
Correct.
Women first.
But you had to do that because I am
We
who
didn't have
I
to.
am.
We just did it. Wait,
I didn't have
there's
to think
no
about none of that.
there. It was biologically proven for us to do it. You
Correct.
must have wills, and it can't just be a putt if you want the.
But see, but that's the thing, though. For me,
80,000 miles.
I didn't look for the guy who had the car because I already had the knowledge. I already had the car, so I didn't need the person who had the car because I was getting me from point A to point.
You getting on
You're
my
looking for the
tangent.
scrub.
We all know
you ain't talking our language yet. Now you
as a young boy,
listen, you are a female. All you had to do was get in and drive. Nobody, you ain't had to put no gas in the car. You ain't had to buy no damn snacks. You don't even have to get the catch-up package. You know the catch-up package that everybody have in their car. You didn't even have to come with that. You just had to show up. We had to buy the car. No wonder you had a putt and it was purple and all kinds of stuff. You buy whatever the heck you want.
Gary,
Let me, Gary Lamb, show up with a putt and a freaking. Thank God I already had the woman when I had my Buick.
But it
I
doesn't
had the
matter.
woman.
I remember.
Even once we're married, we still
I
want the wheels
remember.
to turn the heads.
I remember I had a putt, and this girl I was dating, she I forgot what car she had, but when it was time to go out, I was like, "Yo, we'll take my car." She was like, "Yeah, we'll take my car."
Cheeks, thank you. You proved my point. I had the cheeks before I got in the car. I didn't even have a license when me and Toya got together. As a matter of fact, my first real car, second car, she bought. I was pushing her for like a good year before I got that Lincoln.
I didn't get my car until 31. So hey,
whoa,
yeah, I ain't get my first car till 20 something, like 25.
That is for real.
Yeah, dog. Dodge Ram 1500. My first
I ain't gonna sit here and say you got some piece of crap, but
nah, like he was like, "This the car I'ma save up and I'm gonna get what I want."
Yeah, my first car, I was 25. I had a 1994 Toyota Corolla. Yeah, that was my first.
See, my first car was a Volvo. So my car was already stunting on most people that was around me at the time.
Look, it is a proven fact that Haitians are big on Toyotas.
But a Corolla though, you couldn't even go, bruh.
Yeah,
with the
I paid $400 for it. I paid $400 for it.
Do you put a bunch of stickers
That's
on
how
it?
much I paid for my Buick. $400.
Nah, I didn't put the stickers on it. I only had like the little Haitian down flag.
I rolled and I surprised Toya. I rolled up. We've been taking the bus for years at this point. I rolled up. She was like, "Who car is this?" I said, "Mine." She was like, "You bought it?" I said, "Yes, I did." Get in. The window didn't work.
But you know what, Gary? You was proud of the mug that was your car. Yup.
Yes.
Yeah, see,
Facts, yo.
I don't understand none of these things y'all talking about. I don't understand this. I don't understand it. I don't understand this.
It's a whole bunch of pride.
Like USSY in the backseat of a Buick. That's $400 with the window don't work.
My first bike, I had to be careful hitting potholes too hard on. Because there was so much Bondo holding my gas tank together that if I hit a pothole too hard, the Bondo would
body filling my dude
and rip I finished my bike and I was so proud, and I went out and let's take it down the dirt road where we can rip it. Yeah, I hit a problem.
Rip what?
14 years. Wow.
and a brick of Bondo popped out that was the size of my fist.
Oh no.
And so I had to go home and repatch it.
You're like, if I fix it, it'll work.
Miss
And I
Lady,
was
let me
so
tell you
proud
something.
of that thing.
Let me tell you something. Toy and I had a Toyota Celica, 1987 Toyota Celica. That engine to this day would still be running if the transmission didn't die.
No lie, Toyotas
Yo,
are diehard.
Toyotas last, man. They
Those
last.
cars
Yeah,
don't break.
Honda's is the same
I'm gonna
thing.
say, look, I had a Honda going on 12 years, so
Honda's
Hondas be built to
man,
last too.
last a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll throw shade at my own truck. I got a 2017 Chevy Colorado. By 50,000 miles, I had to do the tranny change, tranny fluid.
Yeah, see,
Oh, is that an
Chevys ain't
offensive?
they not built to last. Chevys after about 60,000
that-
miles, you gotta rebuild it.
That
They're
transmission
built
is-
to look pretty.
Where's the Chevy lovers in chat? Come on.
I love my Chevy. I love my Chevy. I did the
Of
tranny
course you
fluid
love it.
change.
It's
I did
cute.
The trans
It's pretty.
cute. That truck is badass.
It's all
The
dainty and stuff.
V6, dainty.
You bring that
Yeah,
loud
very
looking color
dainty,
damn
but what Rex is
truck down
rolling.
here. They'll look at you like they'll laugh at you.
Yeah, I
You
got the
cannot bring that
off-road
truck
package.
down here. They
okay?
gonna
You
like,
got the
that's your
off-road
new
package.
truck?
I got the AT
Rex
tires
is like,
on it.
look, I'm chilling. I got what I want.
I got the tinted windows, the reflectors. I got the yellow fog lamps.
Dude, he done pimped that damn thing up.
I got
But
the
listen,
storage
man,
unit in it too. I
Rex
got
said
junk
she
in the
done
trunk.
fixed it up. She said she got it together. She doing what
Thank you.
doing what you need to do.
Listen,
I
we're
threw
gonna
junk
go
in the
ahead
trunk.
and end this live. It's been a pleasure to everybody. We done gave you guys
Yes.
3 hours and 27 minutes.
Yes.
I apologize for my outburst. I apologize for that. I shouldn't have went that far. It was what it was. It is what it is. Just want to say thank you, chat, for being here. Thank you for all the super chats. Thank you for all the super tickets. Thank you for everybody that's been along. Thank you for the people in Rumble. Truly appreciate it. This is Gary Lamb. Do anyone have last words? I know you damn well do. Rex, come on now. We ain't gonna put the deck. He put the heart up. Did you see that? Rex.
Well, Rex
Come on.
is getting up from chat. Hell
Oh,
yeah.
shut up. I ain't talking to
Look.
you. I'm talking to Rex.
Thanks for coming out. God bless ya. Good night.
What you want to say, Joe?
Oh, I have fun. Love it.
Yeah. We
And
definitely
now
gotta do this again.
somebody said you're jacked, right? And I'm a little fluffy right now. So give me
I seen
patience.
you last week.
But you know, I mean, see, I'm flat.
Oh,
See,
give it up.
None of my. I gotta really to get the cut. There it is. See,
Yeah.
it's right there.
Big cat a little bit.
I got guns too. There, June. I'm gonna get back in shape so I can work with you. But you got anything to say there, Erica?
Thank you for having me out here. I like talking. Y'all know I do. I always have fun. So I'm always be here, ready to talk for y'all.
And what about you,
Yep.
Fetish? My dude,
Man,
Fetish.
it's good to
Can't
see
wait to
you,
get you in the back office. It's gonna be fun to see after the live to talk to you for a minute.
Yeah, it's definitely good to see you, man. Good to see everybody in the chat. You know, we're living in some really divisive and separated times, man. And I think right now just calls for unity and for people to come together, man, and try to get this country back to where it needs to be. Because right now it's not looking good. So I would just call for unity, man, and then you know, remain steadfast and strong, man. That's all I can say.
Agreed.
And last but not least, obviously, Rex.
Yeah, I suck at outros.
That's why I made sure you was last.
Yeah, that's jacked up, man. You set me up for that one.
You damn right I did.
Unity. The LGBT is not a monolith, and stop sexualizing kids. Yeah.
Like that. Well, this is Gary Lamb signing off. You guys have a good one.
Peace.
Hey.
getting shorter. It's now or no way, 'cause life flows like white water. Take a moment to breathe, hold it in, stay a while, forget all that you know, and forgive everyone. It's all in your power to turn away. And maybe I've been blinded, 'cause all I see now is a fairy tale ending. It's not in our course at all. Make a change, forget wait for nothing, to death do I, 'cause I feel like a freight train is running over me. So I'll say what you want me to make you believe. Mortify, complicate, I'll wait by until it's too late. But I think that you know much better.